Part 15. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 141. Time flies so fast, 2 months, in the vast world, flies by in the blink of an eye. Xiao Wen, the head of the Xiao family in Zhongtian, summoned a group of children in the family. In these 2 months, the family's children absorbed the active essence, blood, and elixirs given by the Lord's family. The family's strength has soared, and nearly 30 powerful warrior gods have appeared. As well as the existence of 300 false martial gods, any one of these people. Go to the boundless world, those are the existences that can shock the world. If we only look at the family's combat effectiveness, their Zhongtian Xiao family has an absolute advantage in ranking among the top 3. It's a pity that the top 10 forces still have requirements for the family to be gifted. Although the last time the Zhongtian Xiao family went to the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, in the eyes of outsiders, it was because he wanted to compete with the top 10 forces, but only he knew the real reason behind it. After all, the top talents emerging from the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang have become the object of everyone's research. Even the head of the family has the idea of possessing such a family genius. But in one family, so many top talents suddenly appeared. There must be great opportunities in it. How else to explain the sudden appearance of so many geniuses in one family? Moreover, the lords of the heavens also believe that if they take over the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, they will definitely become the top force in the heavens. But as the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang is a major force in the vast continent, even the established families are afraid of it. Even before their strength has improved, they have to be cautious. But now with their strength, they will face forces like the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Destroying it is only a matter of minutes, let alone the power of the heavens. If Xiao Wuxi had not gone to heaven before, they might still be afraid. But the opponent himself is unable to protect himself in the heavens, so how can he take care of the vast continent? Taking over the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, they are bound to win this time. So what if Elder Xiao Ao is detained? What about the elder who instantly kills the mana of thousands of years? Now he is already a strong man with 20,000 years of magical power. As long as he completes the mission this time, he will be able to become a powerful man at the level of a god king. Even the strongest and most powerful people in the world would still be a little afraid when seeing him. Thinking of this, he felt even more arrogant. With a wave of his hand, a terrifying aura instantly burst out. Everyone, listen to the order. Follow the master of this family to the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang and completely destroy it. Yes. Everyone in the Xiao family was also influenced by him, and their momentum suddenly became high. Then the Xiao family in Zhongtian set off for the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang with a huge formation. This move also attracted the attention of countless people. Many people are talking about this. The Xiao family of Zhongtian actually dispatched such a top powerhouse. You see, the worst ones are all at the peak of the Supreme Lord. It seems that they are bound to destroy the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. The strength of the Xiao family in Zhongtian is so terrifying. There are 300 pseudo-martial gods alone. Even the god of war dispatched 30 of them. Even the head of the family, Xiao Wen, dispatched himself. Look at this, the Xiao family of Nanjiang has completely offended the Xiao family of Zhongtian. For a moment, everyone was shocked by the terrifying strength of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. I had known for a long time that the Zhongtian Xiao family was extremely powerful, but I never imagined that it would be so terrifying. Even some established families and clans may not be able to produce as many martial gods as he does. The strength of the head of the family, Xiao Wen, gives me a suffocating feeling. His strength is probably on par with Xiao Wuxi. Is it possible that he has reached the level of the martial god Xiao Wuxi? It's possible that just the aura he exudes can make people fear him. Not to mention if he takes action, even Xiao Wuxi may not be his opponent. Hearing this, everyone suddenly gasped. Even the veteran elders around him burst out with the terrifying aura of the god of war. I think their magic power starts at least 10,000 years old. Hiss. Everyone was extremely shocked when they heard this, and gained another understanding of the power of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. Is this the terror of top power? Even some established families saw the fighting power of the Zhongtian Xiao family. They were all lost in thought and didn't even dare to speak. Because they can't even use half of this fighting power. It can be seen how terrifying the development of the Xiao family in Zhongtian is now. By the way, are they really going out this time to destroy the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang? Some people raised questions. They had also heard about the Xiao family's failure in Zhongtian and the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. The Xiao family in southern Xinjiang and the Xiao family in Zhongtian are hundreds of millions of miles apart. How can there be any grudge between the two? Yes, you must have misunderstood, right? Besides, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang also has top talents such as Xiao Tianyuan. The man patted his chest as a pledge. Although the Xiao family in Zhongtian is not in conflict with the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, it is precisely because the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang has many talented people. It aroused the covetousness of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. In the name of merging, they wanted to annex the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. However, the head of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang disagreed. Not only that, he also instantly killed a martial god with 1,000-year magic power. They even detained their first elder, and the Xiao family in Zhongtian originally wanted to annex the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. How could we miss this opportunity to seize the top spot of the top 10 forces this time? Everyone gasped when they heard this. I didn't expect that the Zhongtian Xiao family would have such an idea. But the head of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang is not someone to be trifled with. Although Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, doesn't care about family affairs, he has a character that is determined to retaliate. We must not tolerate such a thing happening. Although Xiao Wuxi was hunted down in the heavens. But the news of his execution did not come out for a day, and no one dared to bully the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Besides, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang not only has the number 1 swordsman Xiao Xian, but also the sword emperor Xiao Jiangxin and other top geniuses. Since Xiao Xian dares to imprison the eldest elder of the Xiao family in Zhongtian into the demon locking tower, it proves that they are not afraid of the power of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. Although very few people know about this matter. But intelligence specialists like Tianji Pavilion can still find out. What's more, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang didn't hide anything about this matter. So this matter broke out like this. The Xiao family of Zhongtian faced off against the Xiao family of southern Xinjiang who don't wear shoes. It's interesting. It's interesting. Since the rise of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, they have never been afraid of anyone. Even if Xiao Wuxi doesn't come forward. With the Xiao family's behavior in southern Xinjiang, we don't know who will win. What's more, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang occupies the top 8 positions in the Tiandao ranking. It is well known how terrifying his talent is. I don't know what kind of sparks will happen if the two Xiao families collide this time. Who knows, anyway, we are just watching the excitement. We will find out if we go over and take a look. After that, everyone followed the footsteps of the Xiao family in Zhongtian and headed to the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. The news about the Xiao family in Zhongtian attacking the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang also spread throughout the vast continent at the speed of light. In an instant, many top forces paid attention to the war between the two Xiao families. At the same time, Xiao Xian, who was practicing, suddenly received a notification sound from the system. Ding! A family crisis has been detected, and outsiders are attacking the family. Issue a killing mission. Kill all the Zhongtian Xiao family who come to invade the family, and destroy the Zhongtian Xiao family. After completing the mission, you can obtain all the luck of the Zhongtian Xiao family, a large number of exchange points, and the host can also increase a large amount of mana. Upon hearing the assignment of this task, Xiao Xian's eyes flashed with light. It's been an unknown amount of time since the last time the system assigned a task. After each mission is completed, the rewards obtained are top-notch. Now that the system has issued a killing mission, it proves that the heavens are still obsessed with the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Since he is unwilling to give up the idea of annexing the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, then he wishes them a helping hand to unite the Xiao family in Zhongtian and the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Otherwise, it would feel like it would offend the other party's sincerity. Then the corners of his mouth closed slightly. Xiao Jianfeng and other 9 elders who were practicing in seclusion opened their eyes at the same time. Even Xiao Tianyuan, Xiao Jiangxin and other talented people came out of the room. Xiao Qingyun, who was far away in the holy dynasty of Nanming, had just subdued several powerful men at the level of supreme masters. After receiving a secret message from Xiao Xian, she stood up from the throne. He looked towards the sky with cold eyes, and then appeared in the Xiao family's residence with a flash of his body. Jamal Xiao, Xiao Zhangtian and other talented people also rushed back to the Xiao family. Xiao Xian stood with his hands behind his hands, looked at the 8 geniuses gathered in front of him, and said slowly, "Let's go." The 8 geniuses looked at each other and followed closely behind. Immediately afterwards, 9 figures left the Xiao family's residence together and rushed to the land bordering Zhongtian. Everyone in the Xiao family did not feel any worry when they saw this scene. In their eyes, these few people are enough to destroy the opponent's army of thousands. It doesn't matter how many people there are, if the quality is not good, it's still waste. At the same time, the Blood Knife sect also received news that the Zhongtian Xiao family invaded the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Now that they are fighting, we can't waste this opportunity. A strong light flashed in the eyes of the dry bones martial god. Then without saying a word, he directly summoned his demon warriors. Give the order, set up the formation, and when the time is right, activate the formation to attract the demons to come. Start the demon war. A group of demon warriors received the order and began to prepare. At the same time, southern Xinjiang, mid-heaven borders the earth. Zhongtian Xiao Jiahao's team has attracted the attention of many forces along the way. The other party is even more determined to destroy the Xiao family this time. Therefore, everyone in the team is highly motivated and looks like they will never destroy the Xiao family and never return. In order to obtain first-hand information, the major forces also followed behind. Just when everyone was preparing to step into southern Xinjiang, 9 figures appeared in front of them. It directly stopped Xiao Wen and others from moving forward. The onlookers were shocked when they saw Xiao Xian and others appearing. There are people from the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. There are only 9 of them. Doesn't he think that just with the 9 of them, he can fight against the Xiao family of Zhongtian? Is he too conceited or overconfident? If we follow past practices, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang will not necessarily lose. Let's continue to see what the result is. Xiao Wen didn't pay attention to the discussions around him, let alone Xiao Xian and others. Xiao Xian, you don't think that just a few of you can fight us, do you? Xiao Wen mocked without concealment. As soon as he said this, the team behind him also laughed. However, Xiao Xian did not have any response to these words, and seemed to just want a quick victory. Xiao Xian, this family leader will give you another chance, as long as you let the great elder Xiao Ao go. And voluntarily merged into the Zhongtian Xiao family, and I promised you nothing less. With your qualifications, you can also get a spot as a core elder of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. If you refuse, you will die. Facing Xiao Wen's threat, Xiao Xian looked very indifferent. Jamal Xiao on the side sneered, and then took a step forward. Aren't you here to destroy us? You talk so much nonsense, you really think we are as panicked as you are? Hurry up and fight. I have to continue practicing after the fight. Don't look at it either. The 9 of us are more than enough for you. After speaking without any nonsense, he directly attacked the opponent with the Mjolnir in his hand. In an instant, thunder rolled across the sky. The power of thunder and lightning quickly spread among the Xiao family's 1,000-strong army in Zhongtian. Those cultivators below the pseudo-martial god were immediately shocked when they saw this scene. Many people were even frightened by this blow and backed away. Not only that, those cultivators below the level of the Supreme Lord were severely injured by this blow. Vomiting blood and falling to the ground, let alone fighting. Everyone was completely shocked by this scene. The genius rank 7th on the genius list is really powerful. With just one blow, nearly 1/3 of the opponent's combat power was defeated. The Xiao family in Zhongtian were also furious when they saw this scene. One of the pseudo-martial gods stepped out directly, and his figure soared into the air. He launched an angry attack against Jamal Xiao, and the terrifying aura belonging to the god of war instantly burst out into the sky. Who do you think you are? You dare to talk to our family leader? Die to me! Then he punched in the air, and a terrifying force of martial power struck Jamal Xiao directly. However, Jamal Xiao pouted with disdain and picked up the Thor hammer in his hand. A hammer was swung in the air, thunder rolled in an instant, and countless thunder and lightning flashed. The hammers in the sky were rioting uncontrollably, and the final word was given. The attack of the pseudo-martial god was directly defeated by this hammer. Countless thunder and lightning thoughts swept through his body, swallowing him up in the blink of an eye. In full view of everyone, it turned into a bloody mist. The final word. A powerful person who pretended to be a god of war fell like this. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but gasp. The existence of the majestic pseudo-martial god couldn't even take a blow from Jamal Xiao. Not only them, but also the Zhongtian Xiao family were shocked. They didn't expect that the other party had the ability to kill the fake martial god instantly. Jamal Xiao sighed, with a look of regret on his face. Oops, I accidentally killed you. Blame me for not controlling the intensity. Then he put the Mjolnir on his shoulder, raised his chin and looked at the Xiao family members in Zhongtian. The fake martial god is really powerful. Everyone in the Zhongtian Xiao family was extremely angry at Jamal Xiao's words. Xiao Wen's eyes were also condensed, looking at Jamal Xiao. They also showed expressions of horror and envy. He looked at Jamal Xiao calmly, "You have good strength and excellent qualifications. It's a pity that your cultivation path is limited to today." After a pause, he looked at Jamal Xiao again. "If you can join the Zhongtian Xiao family, you will not only enjoy the treatment of a holy son, but also, you can also get all the resources of the Xiao family in Zhongtian and help you set foot in the heavens. Becoming an emperor is just around the corner, but this is a treatment you cannot get in the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 142. Who would have thought that Xiao Wen, the head of the Xiao family in Zhongtian, would poach people in public? And it was in front of Xiao Xian, the head of the family. This is too unethical. Therefore, when everyone saw this scene, they all showed contempt and mocking eyes. Xiao Wen didn't care so much. He is now a powerful man with 20,000 years of magic power. Looking at the entire vast world, who is her opponent? Xiao Xian? A mere ant can be crushed to death with one finger. Does he need to take such a person seriously? Xiao Xian only smiled indifferently at Xiao Wen's behavior of poaching people in person. Seeing that Xiao Xian did not have any dissatisfaction, Xiao Wen became more unscrupulous and looked at Jamal Xiao with burning eyes. "How about it? As long as you accept the invitation of my family leader, you will receive the supreme honor. However, just when he thought Jamal Xiao would agree without hesitation. However, he found that Jamal Xiao rolled his eyes at him fiercely. Before Xiao Wen could speak, Jamal Xiao's retort came over. The position of the Holy Sun? All resources are tilted towards me? This is really an extremely exciting condition. It's a pity, are you worthy? Not to mention that the condition for the position of the Holy Sun that you set out is the position of the head of the family in the heavens. I'm not surprised either. In my mind, in addition to the family leader Xiao Xian, there are also clan brothers like Xiao Tianyun and Xiao Jiangxin. You are worthy of my admiration and learning. Others are worthless in my eyes, let alone you. Jamal Xiao looked at Xiao Wen with contempt, with a deep look of disdain in his eyes. In his mind, Xiao Xian is his belief and the goal of his study. Apart from them, Xiao Tianyun, Xiao Jiangxin and others are the driving force for his progress. No one else can fall in his eyes. Who else can convince him except Xiao Xian? Damn thing! Xiao Wen suddenly became furious, and instantly burst out with the might of the god of war that belonged to 10,000 years of mana. However, Jamal Xiao was unmoved. Compared with Xiao Xian's power, he was far inferior. There is no such suffocating sense of oppression at all, it is simply a world of difference. Then several powerful warriors behind him also burst out with their own aura and locked onto Jamal Xiao. Seeing that he was still unmoved, several more pseudo-martial gods appeared and locked him in their own domain. When everyone saw this scene, they immediately shook their heads. If you can't beat someone, you just want to be overwhelmed by numbers. It's really despicable. Faced with this kind of pressure, Jamal Xiao pursed his lips in disdain. Just relying on 3 martial gods and a dozen false martial gods, they want to suppress and control me. Do you think that I am too weak, or do you think that you are too powerful? Immediately afterwards, he stepped into the air and struck the air with Mjolnir. The huge power seemed to break half of the void barrier. In an instant, thunder rolled in the sky, and countless thunder and lightning flashed in the sky. This terrifying flash of thunder and lightning can be seen for hundreds of thousands of kilometers. As soon as the hammer fell, sand flew, rocks rolled, and dust rolled. The Emperor's situation changed, even the earth was trembling, and the sky seemed unable to withstand such a concentration of power. There were countless cracks exposed, as if it was about to break at any time. Not good. The expressions of the 3 martial gods suddenly changed when they saw this strike of Mjolnir. They all used their strongest killing moves to resist this move. However, the pseudo-martial god behind them was half a beat slower. Even though they had used their strongest killing moves to resist, they were still locked by countless thunder and lightning intentions. Suddenly, the two sides collided. The huge power of Thor's hammer seemed to fall on a huge protective shield. Jamal Xiao curled his lips and smiled. Then he pressed down hard, and the shroud condensed by dozens of pseudo-martial gods and several martial gods. There were actually signs of fragmentation, and then it was shattered in the eyes of everyone who was extremely shocked. In an instant, winds and clouds surged, sand and rocks flew, and the sky shook. A terrifying aura with the power of the thunder god instantly hunted them down. The pupils of the 3 martial gods suddenly condensed, and they once again tried their best to catch this move. But they were pushed back countless steps by this residual power. The dozens of pseudo-war gods behind him were directly killed by this thunder hammer. It instantly turned into streaks of blood mist, becoming fertile nutrients for this land. Looking at the scene in front of them, everyone showed extremely shocked eyes. Jamal Xiao is just a being who has just become a master. Its strength is so terrifying. With just one move, the opponent lost dozens of pseudo-martial gods. Even the 3 martial gods couldn't resist his killing move. Such strength is too terrifying. Then everyone looked at the other geniuses of the Xiao family. It suddenly dawned on me. With Jamal Xiao's qualifications, he can only be ranked 7th on the Tiandao ranking. So, what about other geniuses? How terrifying their strength must be. Thinking of this, everyone was shocked again. Seeing this scene, everyone in the Xiao family in Zhongtian became furious. As the head of the family, Xiao Wen was even more furious. Kill him! Kill him for my master! Several more powerful martial gods and a dozen false martial gods stepped forward. They launched an attack together and planned to surround and suppress Jamal Xiao to death. As Jamal Xiao's best friend, Xiao Yan naturally couldn't stand it. Then he took a step, and a burst of flame power instantly filled the air. Although Jamal Xiao has absolute strength to deal with them. However, he looked very unhappy being surrounded by so many people. Bullying the minority with more? Have you asked this young master? Another punch passed, and the power of endless flames instantly filled hundreds of thousands of kilometers. Even though everyone has retreated millions of kilometers away. I still can't stand being burned by this fierce flame. In an instant, dozens of pseudo-war gods were suppressed by the power of the flames. It turned out to be Fire Emperor Xiao Yan. He also took action. With Xiao Yan's ability to control flames, these people want to kill Jamal Xiao, but they can't. Xiao Yan, as the 4th-ranked genius on the Heavenly Dao ranking, is even more terrifying. The two of them have joined forces and have already defeated so many powerful men from the Zhongtian Xiao family. At this moment, we still don't know who is the target of destruction. The Zhongtian Xiao family was naturally shocked by the strength of Jamal Xiao and Xiao Yan. But they all had only one thought in their minds at this time. No matter what method is used, they must be killed. Kill. Xiao Yan smiled heartily when he saw this. There are so many people, I'm actually a little excited. After saying that, he punched again, and a terrifying power of flames instantly surrounded them. It's like a small flame purgatory. In an instant, several pseudo-martial gods of the Xiao family in Zhongtian were severely injured. And those powerful masters were directly burned to death by the power of the flames. When Xiao Wen saw this scene, he was filled with rage and glared in the direction of Xiao Xian and his group with bared teeth. Kill! Kill them all for my master! Everyone in the Xiao family in Zhongtian no longer hides it. Countless powerful men and women appeared one after another and rushed towards Xiao Xian and his party. The few geniuses standing next to Xiao Xian remained unmoved. They didn't pay attention to such a strong attack. At this time, a huge black coffin fell from the sky and instantly swallowed the 3 false gods of war. Only 3 withered corpses were left. Immediately afterwards, more than a dozen powerful masters of the master level were destroyed by him. Upon seeing this, another strong man rushed forward and wanted to strangle Xiao Zhangtian. Have you ever asked me about killing my compatriots in front of me, Emperor Murongyi? Then Xiao Junlin stepped out and broke the strong man's neck with one hand. The strong man didn't even react and saw his head and body separated. Ignorant existence actually wants to suppress me with numbers. In front of a truly powerful person, strength determines everything. I am invincible in the world. No matter how many there are, you are just ants that can be crushed to death with one kick. Xiao Yanyao took action, and the Chifeng gun in his hand continued to emit terrifying power. In just one swing, dozens of pseudo-martial gods were killed by his Chifeng spear. The immortal shield turned into a 1,000-pound drop, wherever it passed. The powerful masters at the dominance level exploded and died one after another. On the top of the immortals, among the arrogant people, I, Xiao Yanyao, am invincible in the world. Whether it is a false martial god or a martial god, they will all turn into dust under the attacks of my Chifeng spear and immortal shield. As Xiao Yanyao continued to talk nonsense, his strength also increased rapidly. Quantity is not as good as quality. In front of me, everything is just an ant. The Chifeng gun in his hand kept waving, and the endless gun force swept over him. In an instant, a pseudo-Valkyrie who attacked him was killed on the spot. You dare to fight me with such strength? You are just asking for death. After saying that, the immortal shield in Xiao Yanyeo's hand turned into 1,000 kati pendant, and he hit it fiercely in the air. All the powerful and powerful pseudo-martial gods who were killing him were killed one by one. Escape? My men will never leave any trouble behind. With the cooperation of the Chifeng spear and the immortal shield, every powerful man died in Xiao Yanyeo's hands. Countless people watched the scene and were shocked and speechless for a long time. The situation that the Xiao family in Zhongtian was sure to win was actually broken by a few geniuses. The top three, Xiao Tianyuan, Xiao Jiangxin, and Xiao Qingyuan, have not made a move yet. Who can compete with such terrifying fighting power? Xiao Wen looked at the scene and felt a sense of fear arise spontaneously. Before those three people took action, they were already killed in a panic. Think about this. There was only one thought in his mind. That is to completely destroy the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Otherwise, they will continue to grow with their current strength. Not to mention the Xiao family in Zhongtian, even the Xiao family in all heavens will be threatened by them. Such a family must not be allowed to stay. You guys, come on. We must deal with them all. Xiao Wen waved his hand and asked the three elders of the martial god behind him to come forward with the power of 10,000 years. They are all terrible warrior gods who have swallowed active essence and blood. This time, the Xiao family of the heavens also spent a lot of money to deal with the Xiao family of southern Xinjiang. If the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang cannot be annihilated in one fell swoop, not only will the Xiao family's strength in the heavens be set back 1,000 years, but it will even create an additional powerful enemy. And the genius of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang will grow stronger because of this. At that time, it will be even more difficult for them to obtain Xiao Xian's method of cultivating geniuses. After receiving the order, the three elders of the martial god with 10,000 years of magic power immediately stepped into the air. However, before the three of them took action against Jamal Xiao, Xiao Junlin, and others, a sword energy appeared from the sky and stopped in front of the three of them. Immediately afterwards, a jade hand and a powerful fist appeared. Xiao Jiangxin held a long sword and stood in front of the martial god. You have no way out. The god of martial arts suddenly became furious, and the terrifying sword energy soared into the sky, heading directly towards Xiao Jiangxin's face. At the same time, rays of golden radiance swept across the sky. Take away the sword energy of this martial god elder one by one. The existence of a half-step martial god actually dares to block my way? I'm looking for death. Xiao Jiangxin smiled, you are wrong. I am not stopping you, but killing you. If it were another martial god, Xiao Jiangxin might still need some time to deal with it. But the other party is a sword cultivator. Even if the difference is a small level, he will not be afraid of him. In this world, besides Xiao Xian, who else dares to speak swords? With his current ability, even if he met the young Holy Sun back then, it can also be easily killed. Not to mention the current sword cultivator and martial god. At the same time, Xiao Qingyuan was also targeted by an elder of the martial god, who looked at her fiercely. There was a sinister and vicious look in his eyes. Empress? Let me come and meet you today. Then he waved his big palm and killed Xiao Qingyuan directly, as if he wanted to crush his bones to ashes before stopping. Xiao Qingyuan looked at this person with a dark and cold expression. She waved her finger lightly and saw a golden white halo condensing on her fingertips. Gradually, a seal formed, like a jade seal passed down from the country, but it also had the power to suppress the common people. A point is made and a seal is formed. Boom! In an instant, the martial god's killing move was defeated, and the endless power caused dust to rise in a radius of 100,000 kilometers. The martial god's expression changed greatly, but he thought that he had been blessed with 10,000 years of magic power. Therefore, he was not afraid of Xiao Qingyun's move and swung his palm suddenly. "Destroy it for me." Boom. After a loud noise, even the earth trembled violently. There are mountains, and all creatures are fleeing in all directions. Immediately afterwards, the roar of the war god penetrated. "Xiao Qingyun, die." In an instant, the figure soared into the sky and charged towards him with a power that could wipe out all living beings. The terrifying power of the god of war completely exploded at this moment. Countless people looked at the scene in shock, and their blood suddenly froze. Xiao Qingyun raised his eyes slightly and pointed out. The golden white Kangsheng seal was then released, directly suppressing the body of the martial god. Boom. All of a sudden, his body was hit into the mountains behind him, and dozens of peaks turned into flying sand and rocks. Immediately afterwards, Xiao Qingyun slightly hooked his index finger, and the dispersed seal of the living was condensed again. At this moment, the emperor's terrifying aura erupted from her body. Even the Kangsheng seal turned into a golden light. The martial god was trapped by the common people's seal, but still did not give up struggling. In the end, he was imprisoned by the seal of life and could no longer move. This scene shocked countless people. Is this really the strength of a half-step martial god? The martial god who was blocked by Xiao Tianyun on the other side looked at Xiao Tianyun in disbelief. Are you really only half-step to the realm of the martial god? He just had a small collision with it, and he was so shocked that he vomited blood. How can this be? This god of war instantly exploded with terrifying power, and a terrifying natal form appeared behind him. With the endless power of the terrifying god, Xiao Tianyun was locked in it. In an instant, a black 10,000-meter-long snake coiled behind him. The red snake letter is covered with blood-red mist. Wherever the black snake passes, everything turns into ashes. Xiao Tianyun looked at the scene in front of him calmly, and there seemed to be a light flickering between his eyebrows. Immediately afterwards, a boundless aura erupted around him. The black one was suppressed and could not move, and he waved lightly. The 10,000-meter-long snake was crushed to pieces by it. Suddenly, a violent black mist filled the air. Then Xiao Tianyun looked at the elder of the martial god calmly. I saw the body of the elder martial god rising directly into the air. Under the horrified eyes of countless people, the cave world behind him was shattered. The body was broken, blood spurted out instantly, and then turned into a blood mist. It merges with the black mist of the black snake and turns into fertile nutrients for this land. The martial god looked at Xiao Tianyun with horror in his eyes. No. How could you be so powerful? At this time, he looked at Xiao Tianyun, revealing deep fear. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 143. Facing his words, Xiao Tianyun's expression remained calm from beginning to end. He didn't even want to say another word and looked at him indifferently. Suddenly, a powerful gaze was instantly locked on the martial god. A feeling of falling into an abyss filled his heart. In full view of everyone, Xiao Tianyun's big palm fell from the sky. It landed on the head of the god of war. Unable to withstand such gravity, his body became visible to the naked eye. Gradually shattered into blood clots, then exploded in the air and fell in every corner. Countless people were horrified by this scene, and some with low cultivation even developed inner demons as a result. It can be seen how terrifying Xiao Tianyun's move is. I thought that the strength of Xiao Jiangxin and Xiao Qingyun was terrifying enough. Who would have thought that Xiao Tianyun, dressed in a green shirt, would be even more frightening? Although his strength is equal to that of Xiao Jiangxin and Xiao Qingyun. But this fear alone is enough to make the common people tremble. When Xiao Wen saw this scene, he became furious. How dare you kill the elders of my clan? You are seeking death. Then the power of the god of war exploded with 10,000 years of mana, and he launched a vicious killing move towards Xiao Tianyuan. At this time, Xiao Xian, who had been unmoved, took action. He suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Wen. Just a glance blocked this terrifying power. A terrible halo suddenly spread out, followed by terrible pressure. Xiao Wen was furious, looked at Xiao Xian angrily, and almost gritted his teeth and said, "Xiao Xian, to be rated as the best swordsman in ancient and modern times by Tiandao, his strength should not be underestimated." But he didn't expect Xiao Xian to be so powerful. Just a look can defeat his killing move. This kind of strength inspired the murderous intention in his heart even more. "Xiao Xian, I will fight you until death today." Xiao Wen's whole body erupted with terrifying power, and the spiritual energy instantly turned into sharp weapons and headed towards Xiao Xian. Faced with such an attack, Xiao Xian pointed a finger lightly. A sword energy condensed from the fingertips, exuding endless Taoist aura. Next moment, this sword energy with endless charm collided with Xiao Wen's killing move. After the loud noise, Xiao Wen's body was knocked back by Xiao Xian's finger. His killing move was instantly defeated by this finger. Even if Xiao Wen took defensive measures in time, it would be difficult to withstand the power of this finger. His body was directly thrown away by the pressure, and the moment he landed, a huge crater appeared on the ground. Xiao Wen looked at Xiao Xian in horror. I have long known that Xiao Xian's strength should not be underestimated, but I never thought that there was such a gap in strength between them. Before the other party actually made a move, he was already unable to parry. What if he really takes action? Xiao Wen couldn't imagine it, but he was extremely shocked at the same time. Xiao Xian's figure appeared in front of him. I saw him calm, looking at me with a calm face. At that moment, he seemed to be locked by an ancient giant. The blood in his body froze, and a feeling of suffocation arose spontaneously. Rise. As Xiao Xian's indifferent voice sounded, countless spiritual energy condensed on Xiao Wen's head. These spiritual energies gradually turned into colorless barriers, and finally formed a large cauldron. This large cauldron exudes a milky white halo, giving people an ethereal and sacred feeling. And Xiao Xian didn't know when he had already risen into the sky. I saw him holding one hand behind his back and pointing out. Combine. The spiritual energy cauldron, which was about a kilometer high, was gently held up by him. Endless spiritual energy burst out from the cauldron. In Xiao Xian's cold eyes, this big cauldron gradually enveloped Xiao Wen. Fall. Immediately afterwards, the earth trembled, and the immeasurable spiritual energy stopped flowing in an instant. In Xiao Xian's indifferent voice, he fell down with an unstoppable trend. Countless people looked at Xiao Xian in shock. At this moment, they seemed to be seeing people who were not from this world. Such terrifying strength and fighting ability cannot be compared to even the great powers of ancient times. Under the tremendous pressure, Xiao Wen was no longer able to move. The long sword in his hand also lost its former spirituality. The spiritual energy that he had gathered to attack Xiao Xian also became a weapon to suppress himself. At this moment, the martial god space, which had been blessed by 20,000 years of mana, was shattered. It was accompanied by bursts of dull sounds. A huge pit 100 feet deep appeared on the ground. The great cauldron transformed from spiritual energy left 4 footprints in the giant pit. As if telling everyone what happened just now. After the dust dispersed, a figure of flesh and blood appeared in the giant pit. It was squirming like a maggot, and there was a magic sword lying next to the maggot. Everyone looked over in horror and couldn't help but exclaimed. It's Xiao Wen. At this moment, everyone's eyes showed deep shock. Xiao Wen, the head of the Xiao family in Zhongtian, who had 20,000 years of magical power, died at the hands of Xiao Xian. And he just pointed his finger. Everyone looked at Xiao Xian, who was dressed in white and had one hand behind his back, looking aloof. It was as if he suddenly saw the existence of another terrifying and powerful person. Xiao Wuxi. However, the next moment they shook their heads in denial. Xiao Xian is more terrifying than Xiao Wuxi. When he first entered the realm of the god of war, he instantly killed Xiao Wen, who had 20,000 years of magic power, with one finger. Even the powerful Xiao Wuxi couldn't do this. Seeing Xiao Xian's indifferent expression as always, they all fell into deep thought. With Xiao Xian's strength, can he still find an opponent in the vast world? I'm afraid there are few rivals in all the heavens and worlds. Xiao Xian watched all this indifferently. He took action just to stop Xiao Wen. Although these little guys are strong enough, even Xiao Tianyuan cannot defeat the martial god with 20,000 years of magical power. At the same time, Xiao Qingyuan also ended his battle. The elder of the martial god still wanted to use all his strength to break through the confinement. But Xiao Qingyuan pointed it out, and then his body exploded and died. Then Xiao Xian looked at Xiao Jiangxin's side and shook his head helplessly. This guy will hone his swordsmanship whenever he gets the chance. Not only that, his swordsmanship also has the ability to absorb the insights of other strong swordsmen. This is also the unique feature of his sword god's heart. And the sword cultivator he was interested in had experienced a battle fortress after fighting with him. They will all be spied on by Xiao Jiangxin and absorbed one by one. Being able to fight with me with so many moves proves that you are pretty good. It's a pity that your sword cultivation career ends here. The god of war said contemptuously. It's a pity that you can't get what you want. After saying that, Xiao Jiangxin swung his sword. Streams of sword light continued in the air, sending out ripples like water waves. Above the sky, countless sword lights gradually condensed together. It turned into an extremely terrifying sword force, and then, a terrifying sword energy condensed. At this moment, Xiao Jiangxin had absorbed all the opponent's understanding of the way of swordsmanship. At this time, the sword moves against that martial god were his lifelong skills. Then, in full view, the god of war looked in disbelief as his head was cut off by the sword energy. He thought he could easily deal with the other party. Unexpectedly, he would use his lifelong skills to kill himself. How can this be? At this moment, the powerful men and women from all regions were extremely shocked by the scene in front of them. Is this the ability of an unparalleled genius? This strength is so powerful that it is suffocating. He is worthy of being one of the top 3 terrifying geniuses on the heavenly Dao ranking. With such strength, he is worthy of his name. I thought Lin Fifan and Duan Wu were already strong men. Compared with them, there is a huge difference. Seeing the battlefield littered with corpses, the onlookers were all shocked. They have eliminated all the powerful men and women of the Xiao family in Zhongtian, and the remaining ones. He couldn't withstand everyone's attacks at all, and in just a few breaths, he was killed without leaving a trace. At this time, the sunset has set. The afterglow fell on Xiao Xian and the 8 geniuses, forming a perfect contrast with the battlefield littered with corpses. You guys go back first, I'll go to Zhongtian. Xiao Xian did not speak, but the 8 geniuses of the Xiao family heard his words. Including all the onlookers and powerful people present. No explanation needed. They also knew what Xiao Xian was going to Zhongtian for. Without giving them a chance to react, Xiao Xian's figure disappeared in front of everyone. Seeing Xiao Xian's leaving figure, Xiao Tianyuan and others did not stay any longer and left the battlefield. As onlookers, everyone was still deeply shocked by the scene in front of them. When the Zhongtian family came, the vast team all stayed here. Such a powerful army of thousands of people was destroyed by a few geniuses of the Xiao family. No one even dares to clean up the corpses, even if someone covets the magic weapon on them. I don't dare to get into trouble at this time. I can't offend anyone, not the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. At the same time, the Xiao family in Zhongtian is still immersed in the evil joy of the increase in family power. They never noticed that a figure dressed in white appeared above their family station. Immediately afterwards, the sunlight above the family gradually disappeared, as if it had been swallowed up. Everyone looked up to the sky in horror. What happened? Why did it suddenly turn dark during the day? Everyone in the Xiao family in Zhongtian raised their heads and looked at the sky in surprise. I saw a finger several hundred feet in size appearing in the sky. The giant finger descended slowly with terrifying pressure. On this giant finger, they seemed to see the gaze of the ancient giant. Countless people were fascinated by it. What's this? Why did it suddenly land in our Xiao family in Zhongtian? At the same time, news of the death of Xiao Wen and others also came. The elders, the head of the family, the elders of the martial gods, and thousands of strong men are all dead. What? The whole hall was in an uproar for a while, and everyone showed shocked eyes. They looked at the giant fingers falling from the sky in astonishment. This is revenge. Revenge. The Xiao family in southern Xinjiang is going to destroy us. It must be Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Only he has such terrifying strength. I don't want to die. I'm still so young, I'm just a disciple of the Xiao family in Zhongtian. Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang, please spare your life. At this moment everyone lost their composure and became extremely panicked. The Xiao family in Zhongtian also became chaotic, and countless people wanted to escape from here. Some people even knelt on the ground and begged for mercy towards Xiao Xian's giant finger. One person kneels, and 1,000 people follow. For a while, most people were kneeling on the ground begging for mercy. As the deputy head of the Xiao family in Zhongtian, he was furious when he saw this scene. Trash. Our Xiao family in Zhongtian has a clan protecting formation, and Xiao Xian can break it with just one finger. As soon as these words came out, everyone who was originally in a panic suddenly felt relieved. However, at this time, there was a clicking sound from the sky. The string in everyone's heart also broke with this click. The formation that they could finally rely on to protect their clan was at the moment when the formation was raised. It was shattered by Xiao Xian's giant finger. In an emergency, countless cracks appeared in the sky. Then the giant finger suddenly fell down, creating a shocking feeling as the clan protecting formation shattered. It even killed hundreds of Zhongtian Xiao family members below. Countless buildings in the Xiao family's residence also shattered at this moment, causing sand and rocks to fly. Some of the Zhongtian Xiao family members who wanted to escape were beaten to death. No. For a time, frightened roars kept coming from the Xiao family in Zhongtian, accompanied by a loud bang. Those shuddering roars also disappeared. A huge mushroom cloud bloomed in the sky, attracted the attention of countless people. It wasn't until the dust dispersed that everything returned to calm. Xiao Xian looked at the ruins below with an indifferent expression, then turned and left. A few days later, spies from various forces came here to find out the latest news. But they were all shocked by the scene in front of them. Not one of the tens of millions of people in the Xiao family in Zhongtian survived. The originally glorious Xiao family residence in Zhongtian has become a ruin in history. As soon as the news spread that all tens of millions of people in the Xiao family in Zhongtian were wiped out overnight, instantly detonated the entire boundless world. Countless people were shocked by Xiao Xian's strength, and at the same time were afraid of the Xiao family's prodigy's fighting power. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 144. The destruction of the Xiao family in Zhongtian made countless forces see the terror of the Xiao family and the terror of Xiao Xian. From now on, the only top family in the vast world is the Xiao family. Even if they don't want to admit it, they have to accept this fact. The horrors of the Xiao family and Xiaoxian are not something they can afford to offend. The horror of the Xiao family continues to spread throughout the vast world. Everyone in the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang has re-entered their own cultivation. Time passed slowly, and Xiaoxian, who was practicing, finally received the system prompt. Ding, the host has completed the killing mission and successfully killed the Zhongtian Xiao family. Does the host receive the reward? Xiaoxian will naturally not miss any opportunity to improve himself and his family's strength. Moreover, the products produced by the system must be high-quality products. As long as it's not a trap. Ding, the host will destroy the Zhongtian Xiao family, gain all the family luck, and be rewarded with 10,000 years of mana and millions of redemption points. As the rewards were received, the Xiao family also underwent earth-shaking changes in an instant. A terrifying Daoyun instantly landed in the Xiao family's residence. Countless luck has blessed all the children of the Xiao family. At this moment, all the family members felt that the bottleneck of their cultivation was loosened. Everyone rushed to the enlightenment room almost at the same time to start practicing in seclusion. The Xiao family in Zhongtian has a history of millions of years, and its family's fate is naturally terrifying. This time, their luck was robbed, and the luck of the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang naturally increased infinitely. Now with their strength, it is no longer a problem to become one of the top 10 forces. And Xiaoxian himself has 10,000 years of mana blessing, plus this time system reward. He will soon be blessed with 20,000 years of magic power, which can not only suppress the family's luck. It also makes the family's position more stable. At this moment, he sat cross-legged without hesitation and began to practice in seclusion. The terrifying momentum on his body was also raging. Time flies, and Xiaoxian has been in seclusion for 2 months. In these 2 months, Xiaoxian has completely absorbed those fortunes. At this time, his aura became more and more terrifying. Then enter the system to view your own details. Name, Xiaoxian. Identity, head of the Xiao family in the vast world. Cultivation realm, god of war, 20,000 years of mana. Magic weapon, top divine weapon waning moon sword. Martial skills, Tianyu Xianfeng sword technique. After completing the practice, you can reach the top of the immortal path, powerful and dragonless. After completing the practice, you can cut through the void with the sword. 9-turn golden body, 5th level, sun fire, thunder domain. Exotic treasures, jade pendant and ring of the head of the family. Family buildings, Sutra Pavilion, Enlightenment Room, Jingxi Hall, Family Residence, 10,000 Swords Grotto, 1000 Buddha Hall, Enlightenment Heavenly Monument, Wanzhang Medicine Peak, and Family Ancestral Tombs. Supernatural powers, Bei's Hang, Sword Domain, Poji, Power Breaking 10,000s, Aurora, Invincibility, Extreme Speed, Critical Hit. Exchange points, 24500,600. Now that he has the blessing of 20,000 years of mana, even if he faces an opponent who is tens of thousands of years old, he may not be able to defeat him. Other buildings and magical powers in the family have also been upgraded. At this moment, he is already invincible in the vast world. But what satisfied him the most was the last line in the introduction column. More than 2 million exchange points are enough for him to exchange for an excellent secret realm. However, after the last system operation, he was not in a hurry to redeem his favorite secret realm. Instead of letting them stay in for a month and then come out, it is better to exchange that secret realm into a permanent one. Firstly, it can continuously improve the strength of the family's children, and secondly, it can also keep the family's strength at a peak forever. However, these redemption points are still a bit insufficient at the moment. Nowadays, the geniuses of the Xiao family are constantly improving their strength. Even some of the less qualified children of the Xiao family have performed well in other fields. It can be said that the development of the family is getting better and better. Then he started walking outside. I don't know how the metropolitan city is developing these days. Xiao Xian sighed and walked out. After leaving the Xiao family's residence, Xiao Xian went to where Jikul City was. After years of transformation, Jikul City has now been renamed Datu City. It is no longer the small county town it was back then. Not only that, the capital city is also a capital city that Xiao Qingyun's Nanming Holy Dynasty and the Xiao family spent huge sums of money to build. Its scale is comparable to that of a dynasty, and it is also the headquarters of the Xiao family. Seeing this scene, Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel emotional. When he first awakened his memory, Datu City was just a small county town. Now it has developed into the base camp of the Xiao family. Even the martial god would not dare to offend easily when he comes here. It now covers an area of millions of feet, and even the god of war is not allowed to fly on this land without permission. Not to mention that there is a world-leading defensive formation on it. It can be said that almost everyone here lives and works in peace and contentment. Xiao Xian hid his cultivation level and then followed the crowd into the capital city. The rules have been changed since he took over the Xiao family. There are no longer any fees to enter the city, and almost all taxes have been waived. At this time, like ordinary people, he slowly entered the capital city. It did not attract any attention. There were people coming and going in the capital city, and the traffic was busy. The people lived and worked in peace and contentment, and it was a peaceful scene. It has undergone earth-shaking changes from when he first took over. He even saw some familiar faces, as well as king-level cultivators. If he had appeared here back then, he might have caused a sensation. But now, with his appearance, if it weren't for those close to him, even most of the Xiao family's children wouldn't recognize him. Xiao Xian went straight to a small restaurant, and his memory suddenly flew back to the past. There were 3 or 4 tables, a tattered signboard, and the grandfather and grandson had to endure the bullying from the officers and soldiers. Seeing this, Xiao Xian was filled with emotion. The store is still here today, but its size has been expanded to 10 times its original size. The bustling flow of people inside is enough to prove how prosperous the restaurant's business is. Of course, this is also inseparable from the boss's genuine character and his level. When the waiter saw Xiao Xian, he stepped forward with a smile on his face. "What do you want, sir?" "Bring me some hot and sour potato noodles," Xiao Xian said calmly. When the waiter heard this, he looked at him with a smile on his face. The guest gentleman turns out to be a regular customer. Xiao Xian raised his eyebrows and kept looking at him. "How do you say this? Our hot and sour potato noodles are no longer on the menu, but we still have this dish." The waiter explained, "And this noodle is cooked by our boss himself. This is a guarantee for regular customers." "Oh? Why is this?" Xiao Xian couldn't help but wonder. The waiter still had a smile on his face, which made people feel comfortable. Hot and sour potato noodles are the most common side dish, but the spiritual energy contained in them is also very thin. The boss stopped selling it many years ago. After all, people's living conditions are getting better and better now. You can also make such a noodle dish by yourself, but regular customers who have eaten this noodle dish before, I will still come here to visit. In their words, it's just that you can't cook food like this anywhere else. So our boss kept this noodle dish, but without the recipe. If someone orders this noodle, he will cook it himself." Xiao Xian nodded. Yes, it's no wonder that the boss's business is getting more and more prosperous. Of course, even Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family, is very pleased with our boss's bowl of noodles. The head of Xiao Xian's family came here to eat noodles back then, and the person who served him the noodles was the boss's granddaughter. The boss also said that Mr. Xiao loved this noodle the most, so he kept it. Xiao Xian couldn't help feeling emotional when he heard this, and his thoughts suddenly flew back to the past. When the waiter saw someone coming in, he bowed to Xiao Xian, "Please be patient, sir, I'm going to greet other customers." Xiao Xian nodded slowly and looked at the familiar scene in front of him. His state of mind also became different at this moment. He would think of bits and pieces of what happened many years ago, and his face would show a bit of calmness. When he came here to eat noodles, the shop owner was a lame old man with a little granddaughter who was just learning to speak. The grandfather and grandson opened a small shop here because of their excellent craftsmanship and honest people. It can be regarded as finding a way to make a living. When Xiao Xian came here for the first time, the little girl who was babbling went straight into his arms, with a warm smile on her eyes and eyebrows. The more we interacted with him, the closer the little guy became to him. Sometimes they would secretly put pieces of meat in his bowl. Although it was just a small gesture, in the eyes of the little girl, this was the best thing she could give. If not for the back. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian felt that his state of mind had been sublimated. As if he can merge with the way of heaven, he only needs to practice for a few days. When he goes back this time, his mana will increase again. "Your Majesty, your face is here." The waiter served it with a smile on his face. Xiao Xian looked at the simple yet appetizing hot and sour potato noodles in front of him. My throat couldn't help but move, but the fragrance was still the same as before. The waiter at the shop was originally wondering why so many people like such an ordinary noodle. Now seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, he understood. Sometimes what you eat is not just a food, it may be a feeling. Soon, all the faces were swept away by Xiao Xian. Just as he was about to check out and leave, there was a noise outside. "Get away!" A diner was roughly pushed away by the man and fell to the ground, with the tables and chairs overturned. The leader was a young man, who was also wearing the standard uniform of the Xiao family. When Xiao Xian saw this, his face darkened and he sat down again. At this time, the onlookers were all pointing at the leading man. "This little Tyrannosaurus Rex is here again. He is Xiao Yulong, a direct descendant of the Xiao family. Not only is he arrogant and domineering, he also does all kinds of evil. Relying on the fact that I am a direct descendant of the Xiao family, I am acting recklessly outside. Not only do they seize women from the common people, but they also open gambling houses and brothels. If the girls they like are unwilling, they will be thrown into the brothels and tortured. Not long ago, Aniu's newlywed wife was abducted by him. Aniu went to him to ask for her daughter. As a result, his men beat the person to death. The bride also has a hot temper. He was killed on the spot, and now only Aniu's blind mother is left alone. Such a beast. If the head of the Xiao family hadn't been upright and fair, I'm afraid the Xiao family's moral character would have been destroyed by him. No, how could such maggots appear in the Xiao family? Even if they are the 8 great prodigies, they wouldn't dare to do this. Isn't there anyone who will complain? Why not? Everyone knows the Xiao family's family rules. All Xiao family members who have made mistakes, regardless of whether they are descendants or descendants, are equal. But it just so happens that the person in charge is Xiao Yulong's uncle. And he is also a member of the upper class of the Xiao family. It is said that he is about to become a high-level official. He is also a cousin of Sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin's father. No wonder. No wonder Xiao Yulong is allowed to do random things outside. It turns out that someone is covering him up. Even if the rest of the Xiao family can't stand it, they will still choose not to know for Xiao Jiangxin's sake. Hateful. It's a pity that the head of the Xiao family lives in seclusion, otherwise these maggots must be taught a lesson. Who says it's not the case? Even a family like the Xiao family can't escape, alas. Xiao Xian's expression suddenly darkened as he listened to everyone's discussion. Then the corners of his mouth murmured and a secret voice came out. Xiao Jiangxin was practicing swordsmanship in the yard. Hearing Xiao Xian's message, although he was confused, he went to the place he mentioned. At this time, Xiao Yulong and his party had walked in swaggeringly. In order to please him, a bastard pushed a diner next to him away. Wipe the stool clean with his sleeves and let Xiao Yulong sit down. Xiao Xian looked at the visitor coldly. He was indeed very qualified. If he had devoted himself to cultivation, he would have been a genius, but unfortunately, he turned into a maggot. No matter how powerful such people are, they are just pests causing trouble. At this time, a lame old man walked out of the shop, accompanied by a young girl helping him. Although more than 10 years have passed, Xiao Xian still recognized him at a glance. This person is the owner of this open-air shop, and the person following him is probably the little girl. It's just that this old man's appearance has changed because he came into contact with spiritual practice. When Xiao Yulong saw him coming out, his eyes couldn't help but look at the girl. The boss quickly blocked his granddaughter behind him. "Old immortal, you have thought carefully about what I told you last time." Xiao Yulong was very dissatisfied with the boss's move to block the girl. "Young Master Yulong, even if you consider that my daughter served the head of the Xiao family back then, show your noble hand and let my daughter go. I am willing to work hard for you." The boss hugged his little granddaughter tightly, his face full of distress. Xiao Yulong was immediately furious. "Bah! I don't care who your granddaughter serves. Today is the day when the King of Heaven is here. If I fall in love with her, I have to take her away." After saying that, he went forward to snatch the person. The girl was so frightened that she shivered and had tears in her eyes. When everyone around him saw this, they even yelled angrily. "Bah! The Xiao family's family tradition is nothing more than this. It's simply disgusting." Xiao Yulong became even more angry when he heard the curse. "Who do you think you are? How dare you curse me? Believe it or not, I will prevent you from leaving Tiandu City. I am much stronger than you. My brother is Shui Wuhan, and I am Shui Wuhan of the Shui family." Xiao Yulong smiled coldly when he heard this. "It turns out that my cousin Xiao Jiangxin's subordinates were defeated. Why, your brother was not miserable enough when he was beaten by his sword. Are you here to humiliate me again today? It's a shame that you have the nerve to say it out loud if you are defeated like this." "You," Shui Wuhan was speechless by Xiao Yulong. Xiao Yulong suddenly looked at him with a proud face. "You'd better be wiser, otherwise I won't let you leave Tiandu City." Then he looked at the people around him with a proud look on his face. "To tell you the truth, the head of the family, Xiao Xian, has never had any heirs. News also came from the family that the head of the family intends to adopt me as his adopted son." As soon as these words came out, there was an uproar around him. Even Xiao Xian frowned. No one dared to doubt Xiao Yulong's words, all because of the great influence of Xiao Xian and the 8 talents. Xiao Yulong looked at the boss with a proud look on his face, and the corner of his eye kept wandering around the girl. "Old immortal, do you think it's you who is more friendly, or me, the future adopted son, who is closer to the master of the family? If she is allowed to marry this young master, not only will she be guaranteed to be popular and drink hot food, but she will also become the adopted son and daughter-in-law of the family head. You fart. The master of the house is just and fair. There is no way he would accept someone like you as his adopted son." The boss was so angry that his legs were broken and he was breathing heavily. Xiao Yulong snorted coldly and glared at him angrily. "I had a drink with my cousin Xiao Jiangxin a few days ago, and his words even showed that he cared for me. If the head of the family didn't have this intention, how could he, as one of the 8 great prodigies, be so close to me? What's more, you are just an ordinary citizen, and being able to be favored by the young master as your granddaughter is a blessing she has earned over several lifetimes." After saying that, he was unwilling to continue talking nonsense and directly ordered his men to rob her. "Take her away to me. She will enter the bridal chamber tonight." At this time, a cold voice came from the crowd. "Why don't I remember when I had a drink with you? After hearing this, everyone turned around and looked around, and saw a man in a green shirt walking towards them. Although his clothes were simple, the faint aura of swordsmanship emanating from his body made everyone feel suffocated. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 145. Xiao Jiangxin. Someone in the crowd exclaimed. Xiao Jiangxin is the third most talented person in the heavenly ranking, so naturally countless people know his name. Especially his standard blue shirt long sword, it is the image of a swordsman in the minds of countless people. Therefore, as soon as Xiao Jiangxin appeared on the stage, the crowd immediately became excited. It's actually the Sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin. Why is he here? Is he here to support Xiao Yulong? I don't know. Let's talk about it after reading it. The constant chatter among the crowd made Xiao Yulong panic. He didn't expect Xiao Jiangxin to come here. You must know that except for a few meetings with Xiao Jiangxin when he was a child, he had no other communication at all. In addition, after knowing that the other party was a useless practitioner, he became even more alienated from the other party. Who would have thought that this guy would become an unparalleled talent that is rare to see in billions of years? He is still born with the heart of a sword god. Even when he acts outside, he has to use his name. But the two of them had no other communication at all, let alone chatting over wine. Maybe the other party doesn't even know if he has a cousin like him. Now that I am here, he feels even more panicked. He quickly ran forward with a doggy smile. Cousin Kenshin. Why are you here? Sit down, just tell me if you have anything to do. Why are you here in person? These words made everyone feel that he and Xiao Jiangxin really had a close friendship. However, Xiao Jiangxin looked at him indifferently, which made Xiao Yulong's hand about to touch his arm. They all took it back tremblingly, even feeling a little frightened in their hearts. Xiao Jiangxin stared at him for a long time before searching for such a person from his memory. Uncle Xiao Jingtian's son. Xiao Yulong immediately smiled brightly and pointed at himself. Yes, that's me. When we were young, we climbed trees together with our buttocks naked. When everyone heard this, they already knew the whole story. This Xiao Yulong was probably doing evil in the name of Xiao Jiangxin. Now that this deity is here, hurry up and get close to him. Therefore, many people showed disdain. Xiao Jiangxin naturally observed the emotions of the onlookers, and he roughly guessed the reason why Xiao Suanzhou came. I'm afraid it is related to the cousin he has never met before. Xiao Jiangxin looked at him coldly, then turned around and headed into the open-air shop. At this time, Xiao Xian was sitting there with a gloomy expression, which was something he rarely showed. This shows how serious this matter is. Xiao Yulong was a little panicked and quickly followed Xiao Jiangxin's footsteps. Cousin, just tell me what you want to eat. You don't have to go there by yourself. Then he saw Xiao Jiangxin stopping in front of Xiao Xian, and ran up without any hesitation. Hey! Get out of here, don't you see that the mighty sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin is going to sit here? Get out of here! Just when he was about to step forward and take action, Xiao Jiangxin suddenly knelt down on one knee and saluted Xiao Xian. Jiangxin pays homage to the master of the family. As soon as Xiao Jiangxin made this move, the whole place instantly became silent. That's Xiao Jiangxin. Who else can make him kneel down and salute except Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family? For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the man in white. It turned out to be Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family. For a moment, the whole place was silent. But it soon became a sensation. It turned out to be Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family. He actually appeared here. Oh my God, I just said hello to him when I entered the city. I didn't expect that the head of the Xiao family would suddenly come here. Fortunately, I didn't offend him. You are really lucky to be able to greet the head of the Xiao family. The head of the Xiao family appeared here and happened to see the whole process of Xiao Yulong's arrogance and domineering behavior. I don't know what he will do next. Don't you know that he called Sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin here? He looks like he will be severely punished. Yes, the head of the Xiao family is fair and approachable. He will never tolerate such things. Yes, the capital city became so prosperous because it was under his control. Everyone was pleasantly surprised when they heard this. Some people who had been squeezed by Xiao Yulong were even filled with tears at this moment. I hope the head of the Xiao family can punish this bully. Otherwise, we will really suffer great harm. With the way the head of the Xiao family behaves, he will definitely not harbor favoritism. The boss on the side even burst into tears. We haven't seen him for many years, but he is still so approachable. The girl next to him was also very excited, even though he looked younger than before. But the aura about him was still the same as when he was a child, making her feel like family. Different from the reactions of the two, Xiao Yulong was about to touch Xiao Xian's hand. He became trembling at this moment, and not only that, his body became stiff. Then he stiffened his neck and looked at Xiao Jiangxin. Cousin Jiangxin, is this really the head of the family, Xiao Xian? Seeing this, Xiao Xian knew that Xiao Jiangxin did not know about this. Get up, he asked him to get up, otherwise Xiao Jiangxin would be regarded as an unparalleled genius. He also needs to be punished severely. Xiao Jiangxin breathed a sigh of relief and felt very depressed about this unreasonable disaster. Not to mention that he didn't know the cause of this incident. He had never even met this so-called cousin Xiao Yulong a few times. Therefore, he stood directly behind Xiao Xian without even glancing at Xiao Yulong from the corner of his eye. Xiao Xian stood with his hands behind his hands and looked at Xiao Yulong indifferently. My head, I want to ask you, when did I say that I wanted to adopt you as my adopted son because I have no children? Xiao Yulong's whole body trembled when he heard this, and his head was filled with cold sweat. Looking at Xiao Xian's cold eyes, he was even more frightened. His father had told his uncle before that he should not be restrained in his behavior. Don't spread this matter to the outside world, or let the real senior personnel know. Even though neither of them could save themselves, their father gradually became more involved with senior officials. It is also possible to become a real high-level personnel, and the uncle is the direct supervisor of the Xiao family's residence. He felt that no one could control him, even if someone knew about his behavior. He wanted to report to the Xiao family's residence, but his uncle and father helped him intercept it. As a result, he became even more arrogant, and now he was stared at by Xiao Xian's indifferent eyes. Xiao Yulong felt as if his blood was coagulated, as if he was about to be executed in the next moment. Master, I. Then he knelt down on the ground with a plop, even most of his clothes were wet. When everyone around him saw this scene, they couldn't help but point at him and even cursed at him. Xiao Xian looked at Xiao Jiangxin behind him, and then said calmly, my family leader just wants to see if you know about this matter. Since the matter has nothing to do with you, the head of the family will not blame you. You can just sit aside. Xiao Jiangxin was relieved when he heard this, and then sat down next to Xiao Xian. He did not express any opinion on Xiao Yulong's matter. Xiao Xian turned to look at the boss and his granddaughter, and then sat down again. When the two people saw Xiao Xian looking at them, they hurriedly stepped forward to kneel down and bow. I've met the head of the Xiao Xian family. Before the two of them could kneel down, Xiao Xian gave him a weak hand, and the boss couldn't move any further. Xiao Xian looked at the boss apologetically, I'm so sorry for eating your noodles for so many years. Not only does it not bring you convenience, but it also causes future generations to bring you trouble. The boss waved his hands quickly, his face full of excitement. It was already a great honor to be able to say a word to Xiao Xian, not to mention that he also apologized to himself. Xiao Xian looked at the girl next to him with a smile on his face, come here and let uncle take a look. The girl was a little shy at first, but when she heard Xiao Xian calling himself uncle, she felt happy. Xiao Ziao has met the Xiao family master. Xiao Xian nodded lightly, and then rubbed her head, just like she did when she was a child. In the blink of an eye, that little baby who was babbling has grown into a tall and graceful girl. Xiao Xian couldn't help but sigh, his mood changed again at this moment. The boss couldn't help but sigh, yes, thanks to my old man's hard work in raising her up. Later, when I met my short-lived son, I had an explanation. Xiao Ziao shook her boss's arm with some dissatisfaction, not wanting to hear such unlucky words from the other party. At this moment, the scene of the two parties chatting gave people a feeling of quiet time. Even though one of them is an old man and the other is a strong martial artist, there is no sense of incompatibility. The two sat together and talked about the past many years ago. Xiao Xian's spiritual platform also continued to change, as if his soul had been sublimated. At this time, two middle-aged men hurriedly pushed open the door and entered with worries on their faces. Xiao Yulong, who was trembling with fear when he saw the two people entering, cried out, "Father, uncle!" This shout also attracted the attention of everyone present. They all turned their attention to the two people at the door. The two men saw Xiao Yulong kneeling on the ground with a trembling face and sweating profusely. He suddenly felt a little confused when he looked at the swordsman in blue shirt beside him. He couldn't help but show a horrified look, Sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin. Not only is he the unparalleled genius of the Xiao family, his voice is equal to that of the 9 elders. However, when their eyes fell on the man in white sitting next to the shop owner, their legs felt weak for a moment, and their mood at this moment could no longer be described in words. At this moment, even if you don't know the whole story, you understand everything. I'm afraid that Xiao Yulong's matter has been exposed. Master. Ignoring Xiao Yulong who was kneeling on the ground, the two hurriedly stepped forward to salute Xiao Xian. Xiao Jingtian, Xiao Jingfeng, meet the head of the family. Xiao Xian took the tea brought to him by Xiao Ziao and tasted it carefully. Then his indifferent eyes swept over the two of them. Xiao Jingtian, the head of this family remembers you. In this selection of senior personnel, the great elder Xiao Jianfeng strongly recommends you to the head of this family and intends to train you to be his successor. If he heard these words normally, Xiao Jingtian would definitely be overjoyed. Because this means that he has the opportunity to successfully enter the senior management. However, at this moment, he couldn't be happy, and he didn't even want Xiao Xian to know him. But things have happened, and even if he doesn't want to admit it anymore, he still has to face it. Master, Jingtian has let you down, please punish me. No matter how many explanations you give in front of Xiao Xian, it is useless. You can only admit your crime honestly. Maybe he could be extra merciful and give him a lighter punishment. Xiao Xian was unmoved by Xiao Jingtian's sincere attitude, and he glanced at Xiao Yulong lightly. Do you know anything about the crimes your own son committed? Xiao Jingtian's heart trembled suddenly. The other party didn't even ask the whole story. It can be seen that he already knows the whole ins and outs, and it would be wrong to say anything more at this moment. There was a bitterness in my heart, and then I nodded, I know. Xiao Xian nodded, okay, where is the elder of the criminal law hall? As soon as he spoke, an extremely majestic man appeared at the door. The elder of the criminal law hall has met the head of the family. At this moment, everyone's eyes are focused here. From the moment Xiao Jingtian and Xiao Jingfeng appeared in this open-air shop, most of the children of the Xiao family also rushed to the scene, and they were all looking at Xiao Xian intently at this moment. Xiao Xian nodded slowly, and then an indifferent voice sounded. Xiao Jingtian protected his parents and children, harmed his fellow villagers and elders, allowed them to do evil, and ignored family rules. Xiao Jingtian is now removed from his direct lineage status, deprived of his elder position, and imprisoned in the demon locking tower. When everyone heard these words, they couldn't help but gasp. I originally thought that a big family like the Xiao family would be like other families. A simple punishment, confinement, foot confinement, some salary, resources, etc., and that's it? Who would have thought that Xiao Xian would be so decisive? Not only were the direct descendants eliminated, they were even imprisoned in the demon locking tower. This is simply unimaginable. Xiao Xian has zero tolerance for this kind of thing, if it cannot serve as a warning once. There will only be more and more things like this in the future. Then he looked at Jamal Xiao aside. Jamal Xiao suddenly felt that his hands and feet were limp, and the blood all over his body had coagulated. He hurriedly knelt down and begged for mercy. "Master, have mercy on me. Jingfeng has realized his mistake. Please have mercy on me, master." Jamal Xiao's whole body was shaking uncontrollably. Xiao Jingtian's fate frightened him to the extreme. Even his face turned very pale. He not only protected Xiao Yulong, but even colluded with him. No matter which point, it can break him into pieces. Xiao Xian said indifferently, "Xiao Jingfeng protected Xiao Yulong, acted as a swindler, and encouraged the family power to secretly violate the rules. Today, the status of a direct descendant will be eliminated, and the position of the Xiao family's resident general manager will be deprived. Abolish the realm of cultivation, eliminate the family tree, drive out the Xiao family, and never hire anyone." Wow! As soon as this judgment came out, one word flashed in the hearts of countless people. Ruthless. I have never seen such a ruthless way of dealing with things. At the same time, he was also horrified by Xiao Xian's iron-blooded methods. After Jamal Xiao heard Xiao Xian's verdict, he fainted because he couldn't accept it. Xiao Jingtian on the side was powerless even if he wanted to help, and now he only feels deep regret. Then everyone turned their attention to Xiao Yulong. As a protector, he was severely punished, but what about him, the mastermind? What will be the end? Xiao Yulong did all kinds of evil, opened a brothel and gambling house, and robbed women of the people. Insulting fellow villagers and elders, amassing money unethically, now removing the identity of the direct descendant, removing the genealogy. Imprisoned in the demon locking tower, his entire cultivation will be abolished, and he will never be able to escape again. Hear Xiao Yulong's final verdict. Everyone was shocked. Abolition of the realm of cultivation is equivalent to putting him on the death penalty list. You must know that mortals without cultivation can live up to 100 years. Now, not only has his cultivation been abolished, but he has also been imprisoned in the demon locking tower forever. He is already a living dead. If it weren't for Xiao Jingtian's contribution to the Xiao family, he might not even be able to see this last scene. At this moment, everyone looked at Xiao Xian in awe. Everyone in the Xiao family also saw the punishment of Xiao Yulong and the others. I feel jealous, let alone doing something bad like Xiao Yulong. They don't even dare to have such an idea. Who can accept such an execution result? Therefore, they did not dare to think of violating the family ban, and the consequences were needless to say. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 146. Just when everyone thought that was the end of the matter, Xiao Xian gave the order again. Send an order to thoroughly investigate all the people involved in Xiao Yulong's incident. Those with serious circumstances will be removed from the family tree and will never be hired. Xiao Xian's voice was very calm, but his words were heard by everyone present. Then, Xiao Xian's indifferent voice sounded again. Where is the elder of the criminal law hall? The elder of the criminal law hall who was named trembled in his heart, and then took a step forward. I've met the head of the family. Xiao Xian glanced at him indifferently, as the elder of the criminal law hall, you don't care about the strict confinement. As a result of such a heinous incident, I failed to do my part. From now on, the salary will be fined for half a year, and the resources will be halved for 3 months. The entire senior staff of the criminal law hall will. They shall be fined 1 month's salary and have their resources halved for 1 month. Other personnel shall be fined 1 month's salary. The resources are halved that month. If you still can't handle this matter well, please give this elder of the criminal law hall to someone who can do it. After following Xiao Xian for many years, this was the first time he saw Xiao Xian lose such a temper. But he also knew that this time he was indeed too negligent. Thinking that the Xiao family is getting better and better now, he neglects family affairs. Who would have thought that such a cancer would appear in the family? If he can no longer lead by example, can the elders of the criminal law hall say otherwise? Whether he can continue to stay in the Xiao family is a question. Seeing this, other members of the criminal law hall also became extremely alert. If you want to work in the criminal law hall, you really can't relax for a moment. If something really happens, even the criminal court will be punished. The elder of the criminal law hall had a solemn look on his face. I will obey the instructions of the master of the family, and I will set an example in the future. Such a thing will never happen again. After saying that, he didn't waste any time and took Xiao Jingtian and the others away directly. If the flow continues, he is afraid that he will be punished even more. Without a few months of cultivation resources, his cultivation speed will be much slower than that of other elders. It's not certain whether I can still catch up. He will not be dissatisfied with the result of Xiao Xian's execution this time, but it does not mean that he can accept his punishment. Not only him, but other members of the criminal law hall cannot accept it. But someone has to take the blame. Almost as soon as he left Xiao Xian's sight, the terrifying aura on his body also burst out. Everyone in the criminal law hall also knows that the elder of the criminal law hall will never be so easy to talk to in the future. As the elder of the criminal law hall left with Xiao Jingtian and others, this farce came to an end. Xiao Xian looked at the boss and his grandson at this time, with apologetic expressions on his face. Old man, there is no need to feel any displeasure over this matter. This is because of the lax discipline of our Xiao family. This is how such a dandy appeared in the family. If the punishment is not severe enough, I'm afraid that more such dandy children will be born in the future, which will be a disaster for our Xiao family. Then he looked at Xia Ziao next to his boss and smiled very calmly. Let's do this. I will make a promise to you. As long as you speak, you will not violate ethics and morals and the bottom line of my family. The head of this family can help you realize it, even if it is the compensation made by this head of the family for this matter. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at Xia Ziao in shock. Everyone looked enviously. You must know that this is Xiao Xian's promise. The current head of the Xiao family, top of the heavenly ranking. Known as the best swordsman in ancient and modern times. Destroy the Zhongtian Xiao family with one finger. He is also the mentor of Sword Emperor Xiao Jiangxin. The uncle of Huang Xiao Tianyuan. The only person whom Empress Xiao Qingyun admires. The guiding mentor to Jamal Xiao, Xiao Yan, and others. His commitment is priceless. Being able to get a promise from Xiao Xian would make the whole world excited. For a time, countless eyes focused on Xia Ziao. They wished they could change identities with Xia Ziao. The boss was so excited that tears filled his eyes and he immediately knelt down to thank him. But he was stopped by Xiao Xian, who looked at Xia Ziao beside him. Know that she will make the right choice for herself. Xia Ziao looked at Xiao Xian, and the people around her looked at her with either surprise or envy. She has been told the importance of Xiao Xian's promise. She couldn't help but look at Xiao Xian. Can I make any requests? Xiao Xian nodded with a very calm expression, as long as it does not violate ethics and morals or violate the bottom line of our family. This family leader can meet all your requirements and even help you become a martial god? Xiao Xian's words were very plain, but when they fell in everyone's ears, they became a shocking thunder. If others had said this, they might have scoffed. But Xiao Xian, as the strongest person after Xiao Wuxi, and Xiao Jiangxin and others were all promoted by him. Therefore, no one will question the authenticity of Xiao Xian's words, because he can definitely do it. For a moment, everyone stared at Xiao Ziao, wanting to see if she would choose to become the god of war. After all, the god of war is the top combat power in the vast world, and many people may not be able to climb to this level in their lifetime. Xiao Ziao was silent for a moment, and then said, "I want to practice, but I have to practice step by step on my own. I want to become strong on my own so that I can be strong enough to protect the people I want to protect." Xiao Xian was a little surprised when he heard this. He didn't expect this little girl to have such a heart. Then he used the eye of insight to check Xiao Ziao's details. Xiao Ziao, 16 years old, holy body of royal power, accidentally awakened to the holy body of royal power. Holy body of royal power, a special physique that relies on power to cultivate. The more powerful it is, the more powerful it becomes. The faster the cultivation level is improved, but because there is no emperor's energy, it can only be practiced by the royal dynasty. But don't underestimate the owners of the holy body of royal power. Although people with this kind of physique cannot become emperors, but he can also rely on his own strength to create a new era of dynasty. A look of surprise flashed across Xiao Xian's eyes. Unexpectedly, any little girl I met randomly had a special physique. Although there are many geniuses in the family, it does not mean that he is not attracted to other geniuses. Therefore, Xiao Xian had the idea of bringing Xiao Ziao into the Xiao family. He smiled faintly and looked at Xiao Ziao. "Since you want to practice on your own step by step, my master has a place that is very suitable for you. Not only can it help you improve your cultivation level, but it can also broaden your horizons. I wonder if you are willing?" Xiao Ziao was a little confused. "I wonder where it is." She originally thought that Xiao Xian would let her enter the Xiao family to practice, but she didn't expect that he would let her go somewhere else. Xiao Xian naturally knew what Xiao Zhiju was in Xiao Ziao's heart, and then smiled and said, "Nanming Holy Dynasty. I wonder if you would be willing to practice with Xiao Qingyun?" After speaking, he looked at Xiao Xian with a smile. Countless people cast envious glances at Xiao Ziao. Xiao Qingyun was the king of the southern Ming dynasty. The level of cultivation is no less than that of Xiao Tianyun and Xiao Jiangxin. Moreover, the other party is the only Xiao family genius with the status of empress. If you can practice with Xiao Qingyun, it will be much better than staying in the Xiao family. Xiao Ziao was even more shocked. That aloof, cold, and outstanding domineering figure could not help but appear in his mind. How dare she stay with such a legendary empress? This is something she never dared to dream of. So she answered Xiao Xian's words very excitedly, "I do." Then Xiao Xian nodded, and a jade slip appeared out of thin air, with the corners of his mouth murmuring. After the jade slip glowed faintly, Xiao Xian handed the jade slip to Xiao Jiangxin. "Jian Xian, take this jade slip to Xiao Qingyun. After she reads it, she will know what's going on." Xiao Jiangxin took the jade slip with confusion on his face. He didn't understand why Xiao Xian was so special to a little girl. As a secret voice reached his ears, Xiao Jiangxin knew everything. At the same time, he also looked at Xiao Ziao in surprise. He did not expect that the other party was actually a special holy body. It is also a holy body of royal power, which is really interesting. Then he stayed at Xiao's house for a few more days, and then took Xiao Ziao to the Nanming Holy Dynasty. And Xiao Yulong's matter did not end there. As soon as the elders of the criminal law hall returned to the Xiao family, they began to investigate the incident. He wouldn't know if he didn't check. Once he checked, he almost couldn't bear the information he found out. The people involved in this matter are not only those at the bottom, but also most of the middle-level people. There were even signs that high-level personnel were involved, which frightened the elders of the criminal law hall to dare not continue the investigation. Fortunately, after a thorough investigation, no senior personnel were involved. Not only were the 9 elders not involved, but even the 8 geniuses had no knowledge of this matter. Because Xiao Xian had let it go before, the elders of the criminal law hall were also very decisive in executing it. If the circumstances are serious, the family tree will be deleted directly and the Xiao family will be expelled. The less serious ones are fines and training resources. But there are some types of people who have committed unforgivable crimes and are not only removed from the family tree. He also gave up all his cultivation realm and drove out of the Xiao family. The actions of the elder of the criminal law hall made everyone in the Xiao family see his ruthlessness. Therefore, no one dared to make trouble in front of him again, let alone misbehave in the Xiao family. The Xiao family also made amends for the bad deeds Xiao Yulong had done before. The Xiao family also sent someone to take care of the blind old woman. She can't come back until she dies and goes to bed. The results of this series of executions and acts of compensation were recognized by everyone in the capital city. At the same time, Xiao Jiangxin also took Xia Ziao to the Nanming Holy Dynasty. But even if he comes here in person, he still needs to show a token to enter the Nanming Holy Palace. It can be seen how strict the Nanming Holy Dynasty was under Xiao Qingyun's control. Xiao Jiangxin? Why are you here? The moment Xiao Qingyun saw Xiao Jiangxin, he looked surprised. Unless there is something important, other geniuses will not come to her. This is also a tacit understanding between them. Xiao Jiangxin handed the jade slip to Xiao Qingyun, and then said, "Sister Qingyun, the head of the family asked me to give this to you. In addition, he also asked me to bring someone to you." Xiao Qingyun took the jade slip and glanced at Xia Ziao next to Xiao Jiangxin with some confusion. Then he looked at what he encountered, and then showed an extremely surprised look. She didn't expect that such an ordinary girl could be the legendary holy body of royal power. On the surface, the holy body of royal power requires the dynasty to be cultivated. But in fact, the two complement each other and are indispensable. No matter how powerful the emperor of the dynasty was, there would always be times when he couldn't take care of it. At this time, you need a capable person. Those with the holy body of royal power are the best candidates, and can not only help the royal family go further. It can even help the monarch solve many big and small problems, plus he doesn't have the aura of an emperor. It can be said that he is the best person to assist the emperor and the dynasty. And this kind of Taoist person. He also has unwavering devotion to the dynasty and the emperor. Xiao Qingyun looked at Xia Ziao, who was a little timid, with some doubts in her heart. No matter where you look at it, this woman does not meet the standards of the holy body of royal power. But since it was sent by Xiao Xianrang, it proved that he would not make such a joke with himself. Then she looked at Xia Ziao and showed a friendly smile. "From today on, you can practice with me." Xiao Jiangxin was so frightened by her smile that she shuddered. Could this guy be holding something back? However, Xia Ziao didn't know, she only felt that this woman was very kind. So he nodded obediently, and then bit his lip shyly. 2 months flew by. Xiao Xian has entered into seclusion and practice since he returned from the capital city. Now 2 months have passed. His magic power also has as much as 26,000 years. Of course, this is closely related to the sublimation of his heart and soul. However, opportunities such as the sublimation of mind and soul will be very difficult to obtain in the future. On this day, the family's dragon and tiger ranking competition started again. Xiao Xian came to the competition dojo to check and was stunned when he found that Xiao Yan was not present. Isn't Xiao Yan back yet? As Xiao Yan's best friend, Jamal Xiao also knows his whereabouts relatively well. Even we don't know where Xiao Yan went this time. I tried to contact him just now, but got no response. He seemed to be practicing in seclusion. Xiao Xian nodded, then we won't wait for Xiao Yan this time, we will go directly into the secret realm. Because the secret realm this time is not one time but permanent, he can enter and explore it when he comes back. When everyone heard what Xiao Xian said, they were immediately excited. The previous secret realms were all one-offs, and they had never had the pleasure of exploring them. Now it is permanent. Not only can they explore it to their full extent, but they can also practice unlimited times in it. The reason why Xiao Xian chose to redeem the permanent secret realm this time. It is also because he is preparing to enter the heavens and worlds. Although the Xiao family's residence can no longer be threatened by anyone in the vast world. But by leaving some foundation to the Xiao family, he could truly feel relieved. After saying that, he led everyone directly to the back mountain, and then waved his hand. The scene in front of everyone is constantly changing. Until bursts of pure spiritual energy unique to the prehistoric world were introduced into his body. Everyone knew that they had arrived in the secret realm. Looking at the familiar yet somewhat unfamiliar scene in front of me, I couldn't help but wonder. Here it is. This is the world after the first war between Lich and Lich, Xiao Xian explained to everyone in a timely manner. Everyone was suddenly shocked. At this moment, a picture appeared in their minds. The Witch clan is rampant in the wilderness, feeding on pure blood monsters. Dong Huang Tai, who dominates the world, is terrifying to the demon emperor Dai Jun. The wonderful scene of Ho Yi shooting the 9 golden crows. At this moment, their blood was racing and they couldn't help but get excited. Although this is already the scene after the Lich War. There are no traces of the blood of monsters and monsters on the battlefield. But they still felt the cruelty after the war. Then he waved his hand, and the picture began to change continuously. In the picture, everyone in the Wu tribe was toasting to Ho Yi one after another, with smiles on their faces. Everyone saw Ho Yi in the crowd at a glance, and they were overjoyed for a moment. Great Witch Ho Yi, you killed 9 golden crows this time. You are really a model for our Witch clan. If they weren't the prince of the demon clan and needed to retain a trace of blood, none of them would be spared. Now that the demon clan's vitality is severely damaged, they won't be able to challenge our Witch clan in the short term. The revenge of Kwafu, the Great Witch, can be considered avenged. It's a pity that we can't drive out all the monsters this time. Originally, we could have caught them all in one fell swoop, but it's a pity. Be careful what you say and do, Ho Yi said in time. After hearing Ho Yi's words, the witch became a little unhappy. Then he drank all the wine in the glass, and the other wizards also became dull when they saw this scene. The disciples of the Wu clan on the side looked even more unwilling and angry. But none of this was directed at Ho Yi. When everyone in the Xiao family saw this scene, they immediately realized that this Lich battle was not simple. Only Ho Yi knew the strangeness. It's a pity that even Ho Yi is tight-lipped about this matter, which shows that the powerful people involved behind it are powerful. Ho Yi was also very helpless. That powerful man was not something they could discuss at their level. I'm afraid that he will be killed by heaven just as soon as he said his name. The originally lively banquet also became deserted at this moment. The disciples of the Wu clan were even more depressed. Seeing this, Ho Yi could only put down his wine glass and then walked out of the base camp. His slightly desolate back figure can deeply affect everyone in the Xiao family even after countless galactic years. Everyone followed Ho Yi's men and looked away into the distance. He didn't know how long he had been walking when a burst of laughter like silver bells suddenly came from in front of him. Everyone followed Ho Yi's gaze and looked over. I saw an innocent girl with a smile as warm as the breeze, dancing among the flowers. Happy laughter continued to reach Ho Yi's ears, sweeping away his gloomy mood. Even everyone in the Xiao family was infected by this healing smile. Ho Yi looked at the girl in surprise. Human race. Everyone was stunned when they heard Ho Yi's surprised voice. Are there already humans at this time? His voice also attracted the attention of the girl dancing among the flowers. The girl was holding a bouquet of wild flowers in her hands and a wreath on her head, with 3 or 2 butterflies surrounding her. Her innocence and brilliance were even more evident as she looked at Ho Yi curiously. It turns out to be the witch clan. How did you come to the human tribe? Ho Yi was stunned by the innocent smile on his face and had no idea what the girl in front of him said. He just nodded numbly, his eyes never leaving her face. After hearing this, the girl jumped towards him and looked at him with smiling eyebrows. My name is Chang Yi, what's your name? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 147. Are you Ho Yi? Chang Yi jumped up excitedly, her big eyes full of surprise. That's the Ho Yi who shot the 9 golden crows in revenge for helping his friends. As Chang Yi spoke, she got closer and closer to Ho Yi, her face full of admiration and admiration. The golden crow is rampant in the wilderness, and it is not only the witch clan that is implicated, the human race is even more damaged than the witch clan. The witch clan has the blessing of spiritual power, while the human clan relies on their mortal bodies, and the golden crow is rampant. The world became a purgatory, so they worshipped Ho Yi extremely. Xiao Xian's explanation once again reminded everyone of the scene where the golden crow was rampant on the 10th day. Ho Yi looked at the girl in front of him who was jumping like an elf, and he didn't know why. When faced with compliments from the Wu clan, he did not waver in the slightest. At this moment, I actually felt that avenging Quafu was something worthy of pride and pride. He smiled shyly, Quafu is my best friend. The 10 golden crows have a naughty character. He killed my friend and destroyed countless living beings in the ancient land, causing all life to be in ruins. I am just doing my best, even if the other party is the prince of the demon clan, so what? If you do something wrong, you should be punished. The excitement shining in Chang Yi's eyes once again touched Ho Yi's heart. The two of them chatted more and more, and they took a walk from the flowers to the waterfall. From sunrise to sunset, a strange feeling developed between the two of them. Seeing this scene, Xiao Jiangxin couldn't help but sigh, even someone as powerful as Ho Yi can still be tempted. When Jamal Xiao heard this, he couldn't help but joked, you think everyone is like you? In addition to studying swordsmanship, you just hone your sword skills. The people around him burst out laughing when they heard this. Xiao Jiangxin touched his nose to relieve his embarrassment. Then everyone looked at the scene ahead. Expressed his own views and opinions on the relationship between Ho Yi and Chang Yi. Ho Yi and Chang Yi are really talented and beautiful. Yes, a passionate young man and an innocent girl. What a beautiful story. Xiao Xian stood with his hands behind his back, breaking everyone's illusions. The legend passed down from generation to generation is true, but it's a pity that we are destined to have different fates. Everyone suddenly felt confused, and then looked at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian didn't say much, and just asked them to continue reading. As time passed, Ho Yi did not know when he got up and stayed in the human tribe. During this time, he often went out hunting, killing ferocious beasts and improving food for the human tribe. In addition to his bravery and proficiency in fighting, even some monsters that often offended the human race were driven away by him. Therefore, he was respected by the human race, and they were very optimistic about Ho Yi marrying a woman from their own human tribe. However, the appearance of a woman broke this peaceful and beautiful time. The woman came with a pill and found Chang Yi, and told her that this was the elixir of immortality that Ho Yi had specially found for her. After taking this elixir, you can stay young forever. In this way, he and Ho Yi could stay together for a long time without having to worry about death separating them. Chang Yi did not doubt that he was there, so she took the elixir. Then he sat in front of the mirror, looked at his appearance, and fell into deep thought. When everyone in the Xiao family saw this scene, they suddenly had a bad thought in their hearts. Sure enough, Chang Yi took the pill. The scene suddenly changed at this time. I saw that the woman who gave Chang Yi the elixir was in the sky at this moment, looking at everything below with extremely indifferent eyes. Everyone couldn't help but express doubts. Xiao Xian, as a tool man, also played his role. This person is Zai, the mother of the 10 golden crows, the empress of the demon tribe, and one of the goddesses of the lunar yin. What? Everyone was immediately horrified and looked at Chang Yi after taking the medicine. The other party was not dead, but instead exuded a faint halo. It gives people a cool and holy feeling. Then a terrifying aura erupted from her body, instantly rising into the sky. Chang Yi's appearance also underwent earth-shaking changes at this moment. The alluring face became cold and distant at this moment. There was a vague cold aura exuding from his body. Even Xiao Jiangxin, Jamal Xiao, and others were deeply attracted by this appearance and temperament. A terrifying momentum instantly burst out of her body. With endless coldness, it gives people the illusion of seeing through the suffering in the world. Her level of cultivation was actually even higher than that of Ho Yi. I thought she would be very happy to gain such strength, but I never thought. Chang Yi actually covered her face and cried, with resentment, reluctance, love, and murderous intent in her eyes. Why does it have to be him? It has to be Ho Yi. Everyone in the Xiao family suddenly felt confused when they saw the scene and couldn't help but look at Xiao Xian. Chang Yi, whose real name is Chang 11, is Zai's sister and one of the lunar goddesses. She is also the biological aunt of the 10 golden crows. Back then, she was spying on the secrets of heaven and seeking a breakthrough. Self-proclaimed spiritual consciousness, but fell in love with the great witch Hao Yi. When everyone heard this, they were instantly shocked. One side is his lover, the other side is his nephew. No matter what he does, it is wrong. Even they didn't know what to say for a while. Chang Yi looked at 11 He with tearful eyes, with confusion and accountability in her eyes. Sister, why are you doing this? 11 He looked at Chang Yi with a slightly unbearable look. She had always loved this simple sister. However, the pain of losing her son has completely made her lose her mind. She couldn't accept that her son was dead and that her son's murderer was the one responsible. But he was able to love his biological sister and live together forever. Chang 11, if you still have a sister like me, kill Ho Yi and avenge your nephew. Then she headed straight for the sky without saying a word, fearing that she would be infected by Chang Yi's emotions. Chang Yi looked at 11 He's back in the distance, and her tears couldn't stop flowing down. At this time, Ho Yi's cry of joy came from outside. Chang Yi, come out and see what I hid today. This is. When he pushed the door open and entered, the smile on his face froze instantly. It was true that the woman in front of him was his Chang Yi, but she exuded a refreshing aura. But she was telling him that Chang Yi was no longer Chang Yi. Chang Yi, you. Chang Yi interrupted him and her expression became extremely cold. My name is Chang 11, one of the lunar goddesses, Zai's sister. She didn't know whether she was speaking to Ho Yi or herself. Then he turned around and flew to the sky. You killed my nephew and caused me to lose a close relative. If we meet again in the future, we will fight to the death. Chang Yi. Ho Yi kept chasing her figure, but as a witch clan, How can we pursue Chang 11, who is a quasi-sage? Even if he came to the Taiyan star, he could not break through the restrictions of the Taiyan star. He could only stand far outside the ban and look at his beloved woman inside. Painful. Sad. At this time, Zai's voice came from behind. Ho Yi turned around and met her eyes full of hatred. He stared at Zai with red eyes. Is this how you treat your sister? If you want to kill or chop, just come at me. Why torture her like this? 11 He, who was dressed in gorgeous clothes, was smiling extremely ferociously at this moment, and his words were full of hatred. Kill you? Why should I kill you? Wouldn't killing you free you? I want you to taste the grief of losing a loved one. It's clear that your true love is right in front of you. But you can't get it or touch it. I want this pain to be with you forever. Ha 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 ha. Zai could not be said to be happy at this moment, but her mood did not become truly happy. Compared with the grief of losing her son, she felt more unspeakable guilt. She looked deeply at Chang 11 in the Taiyan star, and then looked at Ho Yi coldly. You want to see Chang 11? Okay, I'll give you this opportunity. Zai pointed to the laurel tree aside, as long as you can cut off this laurel tree. Then the restriction in the lunar star will be broken, and you will naturally be able to see Chang'e, whom you miss so much. Ho Yi roared and continuously launched attacks towards the Taiyan star restriction. However, even if he used all his strength, he could not move even a single bit. Hearing Zai's words, he unconsciously looked at the laurel tree that was connected to the lunar star. To cut it off, unless the Taiyan star is broken. But this was the only way he could see Chang'e. From today onwards, I am Wu Gang, born to cut down laurels. Later, Ho Yi proclaimed himself spiritual consciousness, and the axe in his hand became his tool for cutting down laurel trees. Zai laughed even more heartily when he saw this, but there was no trace of relaxation in that hearty laughter. Instead, it was mixed with countless emotions, including the joy of revenge. I also feel sad about my sister's miserable life, but it doesn't matter which way. Nothing can be changed about what has already happened. As the sound gradually faded away, Zai's figure also disappeared from everyone's eyes. When everyone in the Xiao family saw this scene, they didn't know what to say for a moment. After all, none of them were wrong. Was it wrong for Ho Yi to shoot the 9 golden crows? That's right. Is it wrong for 11 He to do such a thing to avenge his son? That's right. Was Chang'e wrong? Even more correct. She is even the saddest character in this matter. The man you love deeply is the killer of your own loved ones. How does this emotion make her face and make choices? Everyone was affected by this emotion. Then Xiao Xian waved his hand, and the scene changed again. Everyone saw Chang'e in Guanggan Palace. But at this moment, she exuded a void Taoist aura. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying aura suddenly burst out of her body. This momentum is comparable to Dong Huangtai and others. The next moment, a woman who looked exactly like her appeared behind her. Everyone recognized this as Chang'e at a glance. Unlike the clone, she is also an entity. Everyone looked at Xiao Xian in confusion. This is the way to kill a corpse, is that behind her is Chang'e's good corpse. Xiao Xian put his hands behind his back and explained to everyone. The next moment, the good corpse bowed in front of her. Chang'e has seen me. Everyone looked at the indifferent expression on her face and knew that this good corpse had inherited her appearance. But it did not inherit the past experiences and emotions of Chang'e's real body. Chang'e looked at her calmly. From today on, you are the master of Guanggan Palace. Good corpse Chang'e saluted with a calm face. Her eyes were pure and without any emotion. Even when Wu Gang looked outside and cut down the laurel tree, he didn't create any ripples. After Chang 11 finished all this, he walked outside. When looking towards Wuhan Iron and Steel Co., Limited, a tear fell from the corner of his eye. Then he turned around decisively and headed towards the depths of the Taiyan star. Then Xiao Xian waved the picture, and everyone followed Chang 11's figure to another place. There is a small thatched house deep in the lunar star. When Chang 11 came here, he knelt down and said, "Master." Disciple Chang 11 wants to see Master. Disciple is willing to accompany Master forever. Please Master, please take me in. Everyone in the Xiao family heard Chang 11's honorific address to the man in the thatched house. I suddenly felt horrified. Chang 11's strength is comparable to Demon Emperor Daijun and others. Is it possible that the person she can call her master is more powerful than the 6 saints? Therefore, everyone looked at the thatched house with great anticipation. I want to see what kind of powerful person he is to be called the master of the 6 saints. However, I don't know how much time passed, but there was still no movement in the thatched house. Chang 11 also knelt on the ground resolutely, almost unrecognizable. He just knelt down and couldn't stand up. Well. A leisurely sigh came from the thatched house. When everyone heard this leisurely sigh, there was actually a slight sign of looseness deep in the spiritual platform. Then a woman dressed in red appeared in front of everyone. Her appearance is captivating, and every move she makes drives the flow of the void Dharma realm. It seems to be one entity with heaven and earth. It was such a beautiful face, but everyone forgot about it in an instant. The eyes of everyone in the Xiao family were fixed on this person, their eyes full of admiration and respect. When Chang 11 saw the woman coming out, she knelt up and hugged her waist, "Master." As soon as he opened his mouth, he burst into tears. The woman sighed, and then stroked Chang 11's hair distressedly. Customs clearance has been the hardest thing since ancient times. Even Master can't see through it, let alone a girl like you. Let's do this, you will stay here from today on, and when you see through this relationship, you can leave on your own. Chang 11 was sobbing so hard that she couldn't even speak, she just nodded her head. Then she helped Chang 11 up, "Go inside, as a teacher you have to entertain guests from far away." Although Chang 11 was a little confused, he went straight into the thatched house. At the same time, the woman's eyes slowly looked at everyone in the Xiao family. Everyone in the Xiao family was shocked, and they immediately understood that this woman had discovered their existence. It's just that the feeling this person gave them was different from Bei Jingxing and Dong Huang Tai. They are virtual, but this person gives them a sense of reality that he is right in front of them. Everyone in the Xiao family couldn't help but be shocked. This person's strength was actually higher than that of Dong Huang Tai and others. "You're finally here," the woman's voice had the power to penetrate the soul. It made everyone feel relaxed and happy, and even the realm of cultivation seemed to be broken through. Everyone immediately looked at Xiaoxian. There is no one else but Xiaoxian who can make this powerful person address him in such words. When everyone looked at Xiaoxian, they were even more surprised. They had never seen such a complicated expression on Xiaoxian's face. It can be seen that Xiaoxian knows her. Seeing that Xiaoxian didn't speak, the woman's expression showed a bit of sadness. "I know you still remember that incident, but it's time for you to come back. I have gone through countless calamities. If you don't come back, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold on anymore." After saying that, the woman didn't stay any longer and turned around to leave. Then the woman disappeared in front of everyone along with the thatched house. It was as if the thatched house had never appeared before. And Xiaoxian also saw the sadness on the woman's face. A sudden palpitating feeling appeared in my chest. There is also a vague feeling of reluctance and sadness. He clutched his chest and looked at the place where the woman disappeared in confusion. There was a trace of sadness in his heart. Did he really know this woman? Why did this feeling fascinate him so much? Seeing Xiaoxian's expression, everyone in the Xiao family did not dare to ask any more questions. He could only stay by his side quietly until Xiaoxian slowly exhaled a breath of turbidity. His expression returned to normal again, and he spoke directly without waiting for anyone to ask. "This person's name is Jean. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors." Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 148. This woman's name is Wangshu, she is one of the chaos demon gods and one of the great supernatural powers in the ancient world. It is the existence of the 6 saint masters, and it is also mine. At this point, Xiaoxian stopped talking. Even he himself didn't react to what he just said. It's even less clear why he has a strange affection for this woman. He frowned and wanted to continue thinking, but his mind went blank. Even the words that just came to my lips were completely forgotten. There was something flowing in his heart. This feeling involved every emotion in him. Finally, he looked in the distance and sighed slightly. With the appearance of thatched cottage, that familiar feeling appeared in my heart again. He closed his eyes and calmed down, then looked at everyone in the Xiao family. You all go find your own opportunities. After hearing this, everyone in the Xiao family did not stay any longer and left directly to look for opportunities. Xiao Xian was in a bad mood, and they could see it. Even they could see that Xiao Xian had an unusual relationship with that woman. Otherwise, who could influence him to have such emotions? Xiao Xian took a deep breath, and then no longer allowed himself to be immersed in such emotions. Just as they were exploring the secret realm, a big disaster was about to occur in the vast world. A war against the vast world is about to break out. In the base camp of Blood Knife sect, the Dry Bones martial god led a group of demon disciples to gather together. Are you all ready? The senior executives around him nodded when they heard this. Everything is ready and ready to go at any time. The Withered Bone martial god looked around. This incident will not be provoked unless the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang is provoked. Everyone looked embarrassed when they heard this. This demonic war is against the entire vast continent and concerns all living things. I'm afraid that the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang won't look on coldly. Even if we want to avoid it, we can't avoid it. The Dry Bones martial god was silent for a while after hearing this. Nowadays, the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang is a huge force in the vast world. With the behavior of Xiao Xian and everyone in the Xiao family, they will never stand by and watch this incident. If they really intervened in this incident, even if he already has 30,000 years of mana, don't dare to take Xiao Xian lightly. When necessary, you may even have to fight him to the death. You are right, but the devil is fully prepared for this incident, and there is only one last step left. If the mission is successfully completed, you and I will both gain his attention, so this incident must not fail. If the Xiao family really comes to invade, the leader will personally stop them when the time comes. You just need to buy time to complete the task. When everyone heard the words of the Withered Bone martial god, they all nodded in agreement. The Withered Bone martial god has 30,000 years of magical blessing, plus his unique formation. No matter how powerful the genius of the Xiao family is, it is impossible for him to break through his formation in a short time. At the same time, there was a loud noise in the demon world barrier, and then countless demon clan disciples filed out of the void. Most of the children of the demon race have no sanity, and only a few who come to the realm of domination will have spiritual intelligence. Therefore, as soon as the demons came to the boundless world, they brought endless killings to the boundless world. Almost instantly, the vast world turned into a purgatory. The lives were devastated, blood was waving in the air, and screams and calls for help continued to sound. The miserable screams echoed across the sky. It's actually a demonic war. The demons launched the demons' war. Don't they know the consequences of this? The demon clan is launching the demon war at this time, and I'm afraid their motives are not pure. No matter what his motives are, anyway, this time the top 10 forces on the Tiandao ranking have brought the war to pacify the demons into competition. Whoever contributes the most in this demonic war will be ranked among the top 10 forces. Get this exclusive luck and various rewards. So what if it's the demon approach war started by the Withered Bones martial god? As long as we contribute more in this war and kill more demons, we will have a chance to join the top 10 forces. I thought there was no hope of entering the top 10 forces, but I didn't expect that even God was helping me. It seems that if we don't show some real power, these demons won't be afraid of us. More and more powerful forces are leading their disciples to join this war. However, This war was when the Blood Knife sect was fighting against the Xiao family in Zhongtian and the Xiao family in southern Xinjiang. Even though it had been buried, the terrifying power it unleashed was unprecedented. More and more forces are beginning to feel overwhelmed, and some even close their mountain gates to protect themselves. Only a few top-level forces can resist the demons, but they cannot take into account other forces. The bone martial god of the Blood Knife sect brought his own formation and was waiting for their launch not far from the Xiao family's residence. However, the demonic war has broken out in the vast world, but there is no movement from the Xiao family. This is really unusual, but as time goes by, there was still no movement from the Xiao family, so the Withered Bones martial god relaxed his vigilance. It may be that the Xiao family knew that it was impossible to join the top 10 forces, so they chose not to get involved. As time passed, more and more demons descended. All the top forces are unable to protect themselves, and many have activated sect protection formations. Find temporary peace in this way. The Demon Clan, Orc Clan, Human Clan, Giant Clan, and other major clans are all deeply invaded by the Demon Clan. In particular, the human race was the most seriously injured, and the human race who could not practice had no power to fight back. But those ancient clans chose to close the mountain gate at this time. Just as the major forces were retreating, two chivalrous warriors appeared somewhere in southern Xinjiang. At this moment, the two of them were fighting against the demon clan that was constantly besieging them. The moment he saw a demon at the level of a god of war attacking, the two of them used their swords to kill him. I saw that the woman was as beautiful as a fairy, and the ice soul sword in her hand was even more shining. Countless demons turned into ice sculptures under her ice soul sword, and then shattered. The man is very good at using flames, wherever the flames pass. All the demons were burned to death by it, but what was horrifying was where the flames passed. No living thing, not even flowers, plants, or trees were burned by it. The cultivators who were saved by the two of them looked around at this scene. While he was glad that he had escaped death, he also continued to praise the two of them. If the two of them hadn't come to rescue them, I'm afraid they would have become the prey of the demons. Gu Qinjiao's strength is really incomparable. The Ice Soul Sword blessed by thousands of miles of mana is invincible. The Flame Emperor Xiao Yan is even more powerful. Although he is only a half-step martial god, he is obviously above Gu Qinjiao. The two of them are really talented and beautiful. It would be a great blessing if they could get married. It's true, the two of them look like a perfect match, they are truly a golden boy and a beautiful girl. The two of them have heard these words countless times. Although I have already developed immunity, I still feel a little embarrassed when I hear it now. Especially Gu Qinjiao, who already had a faint blush on her face. Xiao Yan also touched his nose in embarrassment. During this period of time together, the two have already developed a good feeling, and both know the friendship in their hearts. I just don't know why Gu Qinjiao always avoids talking about their feelings. Every time the conversation came to this point, she began to avoid it, which puzzled him very much. Qinjiao, even if you don't want to face my feelings for you, you can't joke with your body. You haven't slept for several days and nights since the demonic war began today. Xiao Yan finally sighed. If she really didn't want to accept him, he wouldn't force her. Gu Qinjiao naturally saw Xiao Yan's thoughts. I don't know how to tell you about this. She likes Xiao Yan, but her father is a devil. This time the demon's war was initiated by him, if he agreed to Xiao Yan. It will only harm him. What's more, she suspected that her father already knew about her special physique. Otherwise, I wouldn't have allowed myself to join this demonic war. Xiao Yan felt happy, knowing that the other party must have something unspeakable. Maybe she wants to settle the demon's war before falling in love? It would be great if the family head and clan brothers were here, Xiao Yan said with emotion. Some time ago, he entered a small world to practice and did not receive any message from the Xiao family. When he came out of the small world, he happened to meet Gu Qinjiao. Immediately afterwards, the Demon Lin War broke out, and at this time, there was no movement from the Xiao family. He also sent a message to the Xiao family, but received no response. It is conceivable that they have entered the secret realm, but they are about to come out of the secret realm. You don't need to worry too much about the demonic war. As long as my brothers and the others show up, it will be over in half a month. Gu Qinjiao looked at the confidence on Xiao Yan's face and couldn't help but feel a little confused. The demonic war has invaded the entire vast world, even the ancient clans. They all chose to activate formations and close the mountain gate to protect themselves. How can your Xiao family quell this war? In fact, there is another way, which is for her to pass all the way. By killing the demons and accumulating millions of years of mana, the merit gained can put an end to this war. But this also played into his father's plan. But she has no other choice. Xiao Yan knew that it was difficult for others to believe what he said, but his Xiao family was so powerful. Others can't do it, but my Xiao family can definitely do it. Gu Qinjiao was shaken by the confidence in his eyes. She had heard of the Xiao family. The Xiao family single-handedly destroyed the Xiao family in Zhongtian, and the Vientiane heavenly palace was criticized by even the heavens. In addition, there are many talented people, and their strength is also very terrifying. In the vast world, they are even more powerful beings that no one can provoke. Xiao Yan took a deep breath and said, although I don't know your past, but from the demonic aura revealed on your body, I can probably guess that this war has something to do with you. Maybe you are also helpless, but don't worry, in half a month, the demonic war will definitely subside. You just have to trust me. I, Xiao Yan, will never let go of my nonsense. Gu Qinjiao was moved by Xiao Yan's words and nodded involuntarily. When Xiao Yan saw this, he smiled so much that his mouth reached to his ears. This was the first time Gu Qinjiao showed such emotions in front of him. Don't worry, with the help of our Xiao family, we will definitely be able to solve the problem. Gu Qinjiao's face turned red. Thank you, but we can't take this half-month lightly. The number of demons will not decrease just because we kill them, but will increase in number. After a pause, Gu Qinjiao bit her lip, a little confused about whether to tell him about this. What's wrong? Xiao Yan naturally caught this subtle emotion. I'm going to go to the Blood Knife Sex base camp, where there is a formation that opens the world barrier. As long as you go there and close the formation, the demons will no longer be able to enter the vast world and cause killing. I'll go with you. More people, more power, Xiao Yan said without hesitation. Gu Qinjiao nodded, and then the two of them killed the demons along the way and headed towards the Blood Knife Sex base camp. The Withered Bones martial god had been observing the Xiao family for nearly a month and found that there was indeed no movement from the other party. Therefore, I was completely relieved and went all out to carry out this time's war against the devil. However, an accident still occurred, and a demon soldier came forward to report it. Reporting to the leader, the saint brought Xiao Yan of the Xiao family to the camp to destroy the formation. The Withered Bones martial god's expression suddenly changed drastically, and he left the place directly and rushed to the Blood Knife Sex base camp. It has been less than a month since the Demon's War started. If we close it now, all our efforts will be wasted. And the Blood Knife sect will also be deeply affected by this formation. At the same time, in the mountains behind the Xiao family, everyone's exploration of the secret realm is about to end. Although the secret realm this time is permanent, it is compared to the previous chance exploration. It's still a little bit worse. Many opportunities appear randomly, or even appear at a specified time. But fortunately, this is a permanent secret place, and they can come in and explore it once a month. A month passed quickly, and everyone got a lot of resources. Xiao Xian nodded with satisfaction, and then waved his hand. The scene in front of everyone changed again when they stabilized their bodies. It has reappeared in the back mountain of the Xiao family, different from the previous secret realm. This time, the secret realm left a beam door in the back mountain. You can enter the secret realm by passing through the beam door, but only the children of the Xiao family can enter. As soon as the exploration of the secret realm ended, the system's beep sounded in Xiao Xian's mind. Ding! It was detected that the host completed the expedition to the secret realm of Chang'e, flying to the moon, and gained 10,000 years of mana. Holy Laurel Water 4, Holy Laurel Fruit 10, and the Waning Moon Sword was promoted to an imperial weapon. Laurel Holy Water, taking it can increase mana and help spiritual roots advance, but there is a 1-month cooling time. Holy Laurel Fruit, taking it can increase mana by 5,000 years once taken, it cools down for 3 months. The rewards this time are not many, but they can increase mana. It is an excellent necessity for him at this moment. Just when Xiao Xian was about to lead everyone away, the system mission was released. Ding! The system mission has been released. The demons have invaded the vast world and launched a demon war. The vast world has been plunged into dire straits, and the mission is now issued to quell the demonic war and destroy the Blood Knife sect. Complete the mission to obtain the Blood Knife sect luck and mana bonus. Hearing this, Xiao Xian raised his eyebrows. Then he looked at the people behind him. This time, the ranking of the top 10 forces has added new competition conditions to quell the demon war. The demons ushered in the era of demons, causing countless demons to break into the vast world, bringing irreparable damage to the vast world, and therefore being able to pacify the forces of the demonic war. You will be able to become the top 10 forces and receive other luck rewards. When everyone heard this, their eyes suddenly lit up. This was an excellent opportunity for them. Then Xiao Xian turned his attention to Xiao Tianyuan, Xiao Qingyuan, Xiao Jiangxian, and others. Now their strength is already in the realm of half-step martial god, and they are only 1 step away from the martial god. Let's set off immediately. Let us, the Xiao family, calm down the war between demons and demons. Everyone responded enthusiastically, and then one by one the geniuses followed closely behind Xiao Xian. Go to the place where the demon war broke out. For a time, sword shadows passed by in the sky, like a meteor shower all over the sky. At the same time, in the base camp of the Blood Knife sect, the withered bone martial god stared at Xiao Yan ferociously. How dare you, a mere brat, do anything in front of this leader? Even if Xiao Xian, the head of your Xiao family, is here, you have to bow your head in front of this leader, not to mention you, a brat. Today, you will die for this leader. After saying this, the withered bones martial god sacrificed his 9 rare treasures. The 9 rare treasures instantly transformed into 9 powerful men, killing towards Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, who was trapped in the formation, was now unable to fight back. Death to me! The withered bone martial god soared into the air, grinning with a fierce look in his eyes. Countless powerful forces swept towards Xiao Yan instantly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 149. When the withered bone martial god arrived at the Blood Knife sect's base camp, he saw several powerful men on his side being ruthlessly killed by Xiao Yan. Even the formation was almost destroyed by him, so he was extremely angry. He immediately launched an attack on Xiao Yan and killed him with every move. As for Gu Qinjiao, who was following him, he didn't need to pay attention at all. Mozi had already said hello, but Gu Qinjiao's words had no authority. So he directly unleashed his 30,000-year power and launched a violent murderous intention against Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's current strength is already terrifying. It is very easy for him to kill a powerful man with 20,000 years of magic power. But against a powerful man with 30,000 years of magic power, there is an insurmountable gap. Even if the opponent only has 1,000 more mana than him, there is still an insurmountable strength gap. What's more, the 30,000-year-old mana blessing from the dry bones martial god. Such a strong and powerful man, even if Xiao Tianyun came here, he would not dare to compete with him easily. What's more, the withered bone martial god also has 9 demon statues transformed from exotic treasures. He was even more unmatched. Xiao Yan clutched his chest. His face was pale, and for the first time there was a look of despair on his face. Are you going to die? Xiao Yan looked at the withered bone martial god approaching him. This is not the first time he has faced death, but it is the first time he has experienced the pain of death. Gu Qinjiao's eyes were filled with tears and pain as she fought with the demons that were entangled with her. She regrets it now. She should not have brought Xiao Yan here. This way he won't be put into a life and death crisis. She is too proud of her own power. Xiao Yan, now I want to see who else can save you. The eyes of the dry bones martial god were scarlet, filled with the arrogant look. As an unparalleled genius, Xiao Yan has killed countless powerful men and women. He also has an excellent cultivation physique, if he can be killed. It is not impossible to use secret techniques to take possession of this physique as your own. By then, his cultivation level will be further improved. Not to mention 30,000 years of mana. Even millions of years of mana can be easily obtained. At this time, a cold voice came from the sky. Yeah. The withered bones martial god was startled and suddenly felt that something was not good. Xiao Yan's originally desperate face also had an imperceptible arc at this moment. Gu Qinjiao killed a dozen demons that were pestering him and looked at the sky with a wary expression. The withered bone martial god instantly accelerated the attack speed on his hand, hoping to quickly deal with Xiao Yan. The 9 rare treasures in his hands also became more terrifying at this moment. Continuously heading towards Xiao Yan, at this moment, a man in white appeared in front of Xiao Yan. The man's eyes were slightly narrowed. The 9 magic soldiers transformed from the 9 rare treasures stopped attacking instantly. The man pointed his finger slightly, and a terrifying sword energy suddenly exploded. The 9 demon soldiers were instantly shattered. The endless sword energy opened a hole in the entire vast world. The immeasurable sword energy is raging endlessly in the base camp of the Blood Knife sect. The dry bones martial god looked coldly at the man in white in front of him. Apart from Xiao Xian of the Xiao family, there is no other person who can point out such a powerful sword energy with just one finger. Xiao Xian. The withered bone martial god gritted his teeth and stared at Xiao Xian. He was only a little bit close to killing Xiao Yan. Hateful. Now that he appears in front of him, even he has to be afraid. Just because this person has the terrifying strength to destroy the Zhongtian Xiao family with one finger. Now the Blood Knife sect has become a mess under the influence of his sword. Almost all the demons around Gu Qinjiao were eliminated. She looked at the man in white with curiosity on her face. She couldn't help but think about what Xiao Yan had said to her. Is this Xiao Xian, the head of the Xiao family? It's really powerful. Xiao Xian ignored the withered bone martial god and turned to look at Xiao Yan behind him. Concerned eyes circulated around him. Are you okay? Xiao Yan clutched his chest and shook his head with a pale face. I'll be fine once you're here. Xiao Xian's expression condensed. He could tell at a glance how serious Xiao Yan's injury was. Then he took out a pill and asked him to take it first. The moment Xiao Yan took the elixir. Behind the withered bones martial god are powerful masters, as well as many kings and demon soldiers. They all exploded and died in that instant. Even the moment Xiao Yan took the elixir, he was shocked by this scene. The power of the family leader is really terrifying. Even the withered bone martial god didn't know when Xiao Xian made his move. The demon soldiers and generals around him all exploded and died. What if he did it himself? Everyone was shocked when they thought of this, and countless horrified eyes kept looking at Xiao Xian. As Xiao Xian turned around, the few remaining demon soldiers and generals around the withered bone martial god also exploded and died. The withered bone martial god looked at Xiao Xian angrily, wishing to cut him into pieces. Gu Qinjiao was also deeply shocked by this horrifying scene. No wonder Xiao Yan admires his family head so much. No matter who he is, he would feel admired. The surrounding demons watched as their colleagues died tragically one by one. They all looked at Xiao Xian with fearful eyes. Death is not scary, the scary thing is that you don't even know how to die. The withered bone martial god stared at Xiao Xian angrily. Xiao Xian, aren't you afraid of the devil's revenge on you? He is now only one step away from being titled the Great Emperor. By then, as long as he breaks through the title of Great Emperor, not to mention you, the entire Xiao family will have to pay the price for it. Do you really want to see the Xiao family that you have worked so hard to bring up be destroyed like this? I advise you to stop now before it's too late to regret it later. I know better than anyone what kind of person Mako is. If you don't want to be targeted by him, hurry up and retreat from this demonic war, otherwise. The day when Mozi breaks through the title of Great Emperor, your Xiao family will be destroyed. Seeing that Xiao Xian remained unmoved, the withered bones martial god became a little anxious. If he is really allowed to destroy the world barrier formation, the plan will really be over. Xiao Xian, do you really want to be so stubborn? Can't you think about your Xiao family's genius? Offending the young emperor, these talented people who could have a better future are about to perish. Even if you are the best swordsman in ancient and modern times, you cannot compete with a top power like the young emperor. If you take everyone away from here right now, I can stop caring about this matter. The withered bone martial god knew that Xiao Xian was the most protective of his shortcomings and loved Tian Xiao. Even if he is not afraid of the young emperor, he still has to make concessions for Tian Xiao's future. However, Xiao Xian looked at him with confusion. The one who ruined your blood blade sect plan is the greatest swordsman in ancient and modern times. What do you think I'm going to do? You go find the best swordsman in ancient and modern times. I didn't admit that I was the best swordsman in ancient and modern times. After a pause, he raised his eyebrows and smiled. Besides, I am competing against the demon sons of the heavens, the young emperor. It's not just once or twice. It wouldn't be strange if I faced him again this time. The withered bone martial god almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. How long have you been using the name of the greatest swordsman of all times? Although there is no proof or confirmation, you are the spokesperson of this name. Telling me now that you are not the best swordsman in ancient and modern times is too perfunctory. Gu Qinjiao burst out laughing when she heard these words. The head of the Xiao family is quite interesting. Xiao Xian, don't think that you are already very powerful just because you destroyed the Xiao family in Zhongtian and the Wangxiang Palace. The reason why our blood knife sect has been able to stand from ancient times to this day is that our strength is not comparable to theirs. If you know what's going on, get out of here. Withdraw from this demonic war. Xiao Xian pointed his finger towards the sky and looked at the bone martial god with an indifferent expression. What if I say no? A terrifying sword energy swept from the sky in an instant. Endless sword intent exploded in the blood knife sect's base camp. The terrifying sword force swept across the sky, piercing the sky and causing the sky to tremble. Endless spread in the blood knife gate, and in an instant, the blood knife gate was in a mess. Countless demons turned into streaks of black mist under this terrifying sword energy. When the withered bones martial god saw this, he became furious. Xiao Xian, give me your life. The 9 rare treasures in his hands launched an attack at the same time, turning into 9 demon soldiers with the same level of cultivation as him. Then they merged into one and quickly attacked Xiao Xian. Careful! Gu Qinjiao was immediately nervous and couldn't help but speak to Xiao Xian. Seeing this, Xiao Yan stepped forward to stop her. Don't worry, our master is invincible in the vast world. Even if the young emperor of the demon clan comes here, he can't get any benefit from our family master. Subsequently, the 9 supreme treasures of the dry bones martial god, blessed by his 30,000-year magic power. The sword collided with Xiaoxian's, and in an instant, the storm surged. As a result, the ground shook with sharp edges, and mushroom clouds erupted in the collision. The sword power and the mist of the demonic soldiers overlapped layer by layer, blocking out the sky and the sun, causing violent storms and rain. Countless explosions exploded one after another, and the 9 demon soldiers were under this collision. He was directly shattered by the sword force, and countless sword forces instantly surrounded the mist like a rainbow. With one blow, the magic weapon was shattered, and the 9 treasures were severely damaged. The withered bones martial god is soul-bound to the 9 treasures. If the treasure is damaged, he will naturally suffer backlash. Under the extremely shocked gazes of everyone, the dry bones martial god spat out a mouthful of blood. There are 2 contrasts with Xiaoxian, who is relegated to an immortal with fluttering clothes. The withered bone martial god looked at Xiaoxian with a shocked look. That person has died a long time ago. It can't be, it can never be him. There is no way you can be him. Xiaoxian didn't frown slightly when he heard this, and then waved his finger again. A terrifying sword force instantly rushed into the sky, sweeping the sky with endless sword energy. Endless frightening sword power came from the sky, instantly locking on the bone martial god with overwhelming pressure. In a burst of wailing, the body of the dry bones martial god was knocked to the ground. Xiaoxian, just wait for the young emperor to cut you into pieces. A golden glow instantly penetrated his body, taking away the last bit of life of the bone martial god. A generation of supreme powerhouses fell in front of everyone's eyes. The other party is the former, a martial god blessed with 30,000 years of mana. Now Xiaoxian's strength has become so terrifying. At the moment when the withered bone martial god regained his vitality, several streaks of light also disappeared into the sky. It can be seen how frightening Xiaoxian's terrifying strength is. However, no one in front of him has ever been able to escape from his discernment. What's more, the other party is a high-level member of the demon clan. I saw Xiaoxian point his finger, and a sword energy instantly rushed into the sky. The several high-ranking demon clan members who were escaping were stunned. The next moment, he fell down in the horrified eyes of everyone. Then it turned into bursts of black mist and disappeared from the sky in an instant. Apart from Xiaoxian, only Xiaoyan and Gu Qinjiao were left in the entire blood knife sect. The rest were all destroyed under Xiaoxian's finger. Xiaoxian did not stop and took the 2 of them directly to the blood knife gate where the world barrier formation was installed. The so-called demon world barrier formation consists of 9 demon treasures. In conjunction with the efforts of the young emperor of the demon clan, Mozi, it was opened with the blessing of his 10,000 years of mana. This formation requires 9 powerful men with more than 10,000 years of magic power to activate their abilities at the same time to unlock it. Before Gu Qinjiao could finish speaking, Xiaoxian arrived in front of the formation in one step. With just a click of his finger, a sword energy instantly rushed into the center of the formation. Then there was an explosion, and the formation was destroyed under the finger pointed by Xiaoxian. Gu Qinjiao looked pale and wanted to step forward to stop him, but the expected backlash did not appear. She looked at the scene in front of her in disbelief. How did he manage to violently destroy the formation without being counterattacked? Then a huge abyss emitting thick black mist opened up in the sky. At the same moment when the formation was destroyed, it gradually healed, and a huge white light flashed through. Countless demons swarming out from inside were separated, and the sun returned to the world. The demons with low intelligence cannot compete with the light of heaven, and turn into black mist under the exposure of the sun. Countless creatures who were killed by the demons were also freed at this moment. The world barrier is closed. The demonic era is over. Who closed the world barrier? The Xiao family. It's the Xiao family. When I was providing support at Wanjian Villa, I saw Xiao Jiangxin. He single-handedly fought against a demon with 20,000 years of magic power. And killed it. And Xiao Tianyuan, a demon with nearly 30,000 years of magical power, was defeated by 3 moves in his hands. Even the Empress Xiao Qingyun took action. I was even saved by her. My idol Xiao Yanyao also took action, and even made some new dirty talk. I originally thought that the Xiao family would not interfere in this era of demons, but I didn't expect that they are practicing in seclusion. It's fine if you don't take action. Once you do, it's amazing. The owner of the family, Xiao Xian, was even more shocking. He went to the Blood Knife Sect's base camp alone and killed the Bone Martial God with thunder. And let all the powerful warriors in the Blood Knife Sect explode to death. Finally destroy the formation. It's all thanks to the Xiao family that we can be saved. If it weren't for them, the vast world would have perished. The forces that originally had closed the mountain gate to protect themselves. At this moment, they all opened the mountain gate and participated in the final cleansing process of the demons. Since we can't get the top spot among the top 10 powers, we can still compete for the following rankings. After all, the rewards from heaven make countless people jealous. Although they had closed the mountain gate to protect themselves before, they had also put in a lot of effort before that, right? The top 10 rankings of the Tiandao ranking must also have their own place. At the same time, Xiao Xian looked at Gu Qinjiao in front of him with an indifferent expression, and calmly used the eye of insight to check. Gu Qinjiao, the daughter of the young emperor of the demon clan of all heavens, she cut herself off and cultivated herself into the lower realm. The half-human, half-demon that was combined with a human woman was controlled by the young emperor because of his mother. This time, the lower realm was also coerced, and the age of demons was opened for her by the young emperor. Just to obtain millions of years of mana, help the young emperor break through on his own, and complete his conspiracy. Infinite merit. Anyone who completes things that are beneficial to the way of heaven can obtain merit. Use this to help yourself improve your practice. The greater your merit, the faster your practice will be. Sacred heart of merit, born with a sacred heart. Although there is a sacred heart, it is not the Holy Mother. Know how to advance and retreat, know how to choose, and you will not cause irreparable harm because of your own thoughts. Xiao Xian was a little surprised when he saw this. The product of humans and demons. He also has a special physique and a sacred heart. This is really interesting. Looking at the relationship between Xiao Yan and Gu Qinjiao, it seems that they have fallen in love. This body of immeasurable merit and the sacred heart of merit are both very rare. I didn't expect that Xiao Yan, a boy practicing in seclusion outside, would encounter such an excellent physique. Gu Qinjiao felt panicked when she was stared at by Xiao Xian. Her half-human and half-demon physique could hide it from others. But he couldn't hide it from Xiao Xian, who was known as the best swordsman in ancient and modern times. I'm just afraid that all my little secrets will be discovered by him. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 150. Upon seeing this, Xiao Yan hurriedly stood in front of Gu Qinjiao and looked at Xiao Xian anxiously. Master, although Qinjiao has half the blood of the demon race, she is not bad in nature. I have been spending time with her during this time, and she has killed many demon soldiers and generals from the demon clan. How could Xiao Xian not know Xiao Yan's little thoughts? How could he be so anxious if he wasn't really tempted? However, he did not reveal the subtle emotions between Xiao Yan and Gu Qinjiao. Then do you know who she is? Xiao Yan had already prepared countless excuses for Gu Qinjiao. However, Xiao Xian's question hit the nail on the head, and he glanced at Gu Qinjiao. Although he has been with Gu Qinjiao during this period of time, But when did the other party appear, how did he appear, and what was his identity and background? He didn't know anything about it. It could even be said that this person seemed to appear out of thin air. Xiao Xian smiled coldly. I didn't expect that after killing the bastard of the demon son emperor, another legitimate daughter would come out. As soon as these words came out, even Gu Qinjiao was stunned. She thought her identity was well hidden, but Xiao Xian saw through it at a glance. I can't help but have a little admiration for Xiao Xian in my heart. Xiao Yan was shocked after hearing these words. His first reaction was whether Xiao Xian would do anything to her. What can I do to help Gu Qinjiao resolve the crisis? Then he was surprised by the identity of Gu Qinjiao's daughter. Although the Blood Knife sect and the Xiao family have a sworn hatred, but Gu Qinjiao has a kind nature, which is completely different from those of the Blood Knife sect. Master. That's all, Xiao Xian interrupted Xiao Yan before he could finish his words. If you insist on being with her, you will have to bear the consequences of a narrow escape. The causality and secrets in her are not something you can afford. Speaking of this, Xiao Xian looked at Xiao Yan closely. Even Gu Qinjiao looked at Xiao Yan unconsciously, feeling a little nervous in her heart. Xiao Yan nodded in agreement without hesitation. Even if it means life or death, as long as I can be with her, I'm not afraid. No matter how hard Gu Qinjiao's heart was, it was shaken at this moment. She never thought that someone would treat her so recklessly. Xiao Xian nodded, and the last gap between the two was finally resolved. This is what our Xiao family men are like. No matter what you have to face in the future, remember, the Xiao family will always be your strongest support. You can always be fearless. Xiao Xian patted his shoulder happily, and then added, the grudges between the Xiao family and the demon clan will not involve the younger generations. His heirs do not need to bear the young emperor's fault. This sentence was a complete reassurance for Xiao Yan and Gu Qinjiao. Both of them knew the grudges and hatred between the young emperor Mozi and the Xiao family, so even if they were in love again, we have to take these into consideration, but these secular concepts are unwritten here in Xiao Xian. Whether it was the demon clan or the young demon king, he, Xiao Xian, had never taken it seriously. The grievances between the Xiao family and the demon clan are no longer at all. Since the establishment of the Xiao family, I have never been afraid of any force, so what if the opponent is the Blood Knife sect? I still have the ability to destroy it. Then he glanced at Gu Qinjiao indifferently, then jumped up, endless momentum rolling around him. He clasped his hands behind his back, as if he were a banished immortal, closed his eyes and slowly felt the demonic aura. Immediately afterwards, terrifying sword movements wreaked havoc across the demon clan in an instant. Endless sword energy kept sweeping across the demon soldiers and generals, and bursts of wailing sounds continued to be heard. As the sword light circulated, countless demons exploded and died. Even if the opponent was a powerful warrior god, they could not resist. In an instant, almost all the demon soldiers and generals of the demon clan were slaughtered. Xiao Yan and Gu Qinjiao looked at each other and saw the deep love in each other's eyes. When they looked up at the sky again, they were shocked by Xiao Xian's strength. After Xiao Wuxi, another terrifying existence appeared in the Xiao family. With just one sword energy, the entire demon clan's demon soldiers and generals were slaughtered. These two people are already terrifying existences. Xiao Xian is indeed the best swordsman in ancient and modern times. After dealing with the demon soldiers and generals here, Xiao Xian turned around and left. As for Xiao Yan, he doesn't need to take care of it. The children also have their own space. Xiao Yan and Gu Qinjiao are not the kind of people who love each other. They each know what to do. Afterwards, Xiao Xian's figure continued to shuttle through various worlds. Everywhere he went, the demons there were massacred by Xiao Xian's sword energy. By the time some big forces arrived, the opportunity to kill the demons had been missed. When they rushed to other worlds again, Xiaoxian was already there in a very short time. All the vast worlds and the billions of demons in each world have been eliminated. Countless people were horrified by his terrifying fighting power. This time the devil came to war. With the appearance of Xiaoxian, it was solved. Although there were heavy casualties in each world, it was because of the help of other ancient families. Most of the creatures were helped and therefore survived. While everyone was shocked by Xiaoxian's terrifying strength, Xiaoxian himself had already returned to his residence. After completing this mission, the rewards given by the system are also very generous. Ding! The system detected that the host resolved the demonic war and successfully destroyed the Blood Knife sect. Obtain 10,000 years of mana and gain all the luck of the Blood Knife sect, as well as the luck of heaven. Ding! Get 600,000 redemption points. Ding! There is too much luck, the family cannot absorb it, and it will automatically be converted into mana. In an instant, Xiaoxian's magic power exceeded 50,000 years. At the same time, Xiao Qingyun also seized the opportunity to launch attacks on several surrounding large states. The territory of the Nanming Holy Dynasty has been expanded again, and there is a tendency to be promoted to the royal court. It can almost be said that as long as Xiao Qingyun is given enough time, she will be able to create a glorious royal court. On the other hand, Xiaoxian also focused on cultivation and search the secret realm to get the reward of Chang'e flying to the moon's secret realm. Take it out slowly and use it to add magic power to yourself. It can be regarded as sufficient preparation for entering the heavens. In the palace of the young Emperor Matzi, the young emperor suddenly opened his eyes, staring at something with scarlet eyes. Xiaoxian. It's Xiaoxian again. It ruins the emperor's plans every time. The momentum around the young emperor was raging in the palace, and several of the guarding demon soldiers were instantly torn apart by this momentum. It can be seen how angry the young emperor is at this moment. Xiaoxian. Don't think that this emperor can only deal with you in the small world, but you will always come to the heavens. By then, even if you have great power, you will not be able to escape from this emperor's hands alive. Immediately afterwards, 2 demon soldiers of the Supreme Realm appeared beside him. The aura that erupted from his body was not unpowerful. After hearing the young emperor's instructions, the 2 turned and left. The demon general will definitely complete his mission. Watching the 2 people leave, the corners of the young emperor's mouth rose. Now let me see how you can escape from this emperor's hands. With the addition of these 2 people, no matter how powerful Xiaoxian is, he will be killed when he enters the heavens. These 2 people are powerful and capable in the realm of respect. With them guarding the entrance to the world barrier, Xiaoxian would have no chance of escaping. In each small world, the god of war is the key realm that determines whether one can enter the heavens. But it needs to accumulate a certain amount of mana. Once the mana is reached, even if I don't want to enter the heavens, I will be forced to do so by the heavens. This is also the law of heaven in every small world. And it takes millions of years of mana to enter the starry sky ancient river, millions of years of mana. He is already a half-step master in the heavens. Although there is only 1 step between Zunjing and half-step Zunjing. But the difference between the 2 is thousands of miles. In order to be sure, the young emperor directly sent out the powerful ones in the Zun realm. What I'm afraid of is the possibility of Xiaoxian jumping to a higher level challenge. After all, there are too many uncontrollable factors in him. Fortunately, Xiaoxian's current strength is still under his control. As long as the opponent is killed before he breaks through to the Supreme Realm, then there is nothing to worry about. But now that the Blood Knife sect has been destroyed, his only connection with the vast world is also cut off. Except for Gu Qinjiao, who was still in the vast world, he had no one else to control. The young emperor sneered in his heart when he thought of that human woman. As long as this woman is in his hands, he is not afraid of Gu Qinjiao doing other things. Even if she doesn't want to complete this task, she will have to do it for the sake of this woman. It has been more than half a year since the Blood Knife sect was destroyed. The vast world has gradually returned to the right track, with the creatures being killed and the forces being severely damaged. They are all gradually recovering, and Xiao Xian's strength has also broken through to 100,000 years of mana in the past 6 months. At the same time, the ranking of the top 10 forces in Tiandao was also opened. The familiar golden light shines down again. In the golden list, several large, wedge-shaped characters slowly appeared. The list of the top 10 forces in Tiandao has been announced. 10th place, the overseas Joshin sect has been established for 200,000 years. In this demonic war, he fought desperately against the demons and defended the vitality of overseas creatures. Obtained this ranking of the top 10 forces with a total score of 65 points. Reward for the 10th place in the top 10 power rankings, obtain the Heavenly Luck Reward bonus. The family luck is increased by 2%, and the spiritual energy is increased by 20%, attracting outside geniuses to join. Enlightenment in the Joshin sect can get additional bonuses, and top geniuses can appear. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but exclaimed. Although the Joshin sect has been established for 200,000 years. However, due to its gradual decline in strength, it is likely to be destroyed. This time's reward from heaven can be said to have brought them back to life again. Dear me, the Joshin sect has become so prosperous now. Not only will it not perish, it has become one of the top 10 forces. I didn't expect that they would have a chance to make a comeback. It's not surprising that people have made a comeback. Overseas, they have all suffered losses. That's right, otherwise those overseas areas would have been invaded by demons long ago, and there would be no living beings there. The Joshin sect is a blessing in disguise. Not only will it not perish, but it will also develop even better. For a time, countless people were talking about the Joshin sect. Even Ji Tianjiao himself was extremely happy, this time their efforts were finally not in vain. Great, our Joshin sect has finally stabilized. If it weren't for the decision of the senior leaders, we might really have perished. Let those ancient forces regret it now. Close the mountain gate to protect themselves at the critical moment. Fortunately they can do it. Elder, a disciple of our clan, has made a breakthrough. He has also awakened his innate spirit body. The Supreme Elder has made a breakthrough. The martial god's magic power has been around for 20,000 years. Elder Fenjiun has also broken through to the martial god. Great. Our Joshin sect has made a comeback. For a time, the Joshin sect cheered continuously. News of breakthroughs continued to come from disciples, even some elders who had been confused for a long time. They all gained new insights, and some learned their own secrets as a result. As soon as the changes in the Joshin sect were announced, countless people began to look forward to the ranking of the next force. When the Joshin sect's name fell on the Tiandao ranking, 9th place also came out. 9th on the list of the top 10 forces in heaven, Zhongtian Duanmu family, protecting half of Zhongtian. Powerful, with a score of 70 on the Tiandao ranking. Reward for 9th place in the ranking list of the top 10 forces in the heavenly way, clan luck increased by 20%, spiritual energy increased by 30%. The Zhongtian Duanmu family, which is a big family in Zhongtian, actually only got the 9th place. But this time in the demon war, we can protect ourselves from the encirclement and suppression of the demons. It is already very difficult to protect other families and creatures. Zhongtian Duanmu's family is always ranked 9th, but the reward is nearly doubled. 8th on the list of the top 10 forces in heaven, the Wildhong family, Tiandao score is 75. Reward for 8th place in the ranking list of the top 10 forces of heaven, clan luck increased by 30%, spiritual energy increased by 40%. 7th in the ranking of the top 10 forces of heaven, Southeast Wilderness family. Ancient forces and families are fighting against each other in this demonic war. With an absolute advantage, he entered the top 10 power rankings and received generous rewards. Countless people were shocked by it, and as time passed, the Tiandao ranking was coming to an end. Second in the list of the top 10 forces in the heavenly way, Zhongtianlin family, which has existed for 2 million years since its establishment. In this demonic war, 60 martial gods and 70 pseudo-martial gods were dispatched to join the war. He made a huge contribution to slaying demons and defending the Tao, and his Tiandao score was 83. Reward for second place in the ranking list of the top 10 forces in the heavenly way, the spiritual energy of the family resident is 50% richer. The birth of a top genius in the family will increase by 50%, the family's enlightenment will increase by 50%, and the family's luck will increase by 90%. When everyone saw that the list had been announced, they exclaimed in surprise. Zhongtianlin family became the second place with an absolute advantage. Looking at the whole vast world, there are only a few families with this kind of fighting power. It can be seen how terrifying its strength is since it still stands today. The Zhongtianlin family is worthy of being a family from ancient times. Who can compare with this level of heritage? Who says otherwise? They are much stronger than those families who close their gates to protect themselves. If the vast world hadn't been protected by the Zhongtianlin family, it would have fallen long ago. If that family hadn't emerged later, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to think that the Zhongtianlin family would have taken first place. Alas, who can make someone's strength more terrifying? When mentioning that family, their figures kept flashing in everyone's mind. Especially the figure in white who travels through various small worlds to kill demons. After the Zhongtianlin family received the reward from heaven, great changes took place in the family. News of disciples' breakthroughs continued to spread within the family, and even rare spirits were born. There is also the birth of an innate rare spiritual body. Some disciples even realized new secrets. This is definitely great news for the Zhongtianlin family. At the same time, everyone also focused their attention on the final list. With the name of Zhongtianlin family falling, the number 1 list also slowly appeared.